Hello, 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 everybody. Good evening. Good to see y'all. Let me see who's number one. Miss Justice 1111. There we go, girl. Much love, PG, and prayers. Hey, girl, much love and prayers to you. God bless. Number one. Linda, number two. Number two. Hello, PG. Hello to you, girlfriend. Good to see you. Hey, Lynn, you number three. All right. Hi, PG and everyone. Hello, hello, hello to you. Good to see you, girl. Good to see you in here. God bless. And who is number four? Cindy, number four, girlfriend. You are number four. Hello, PG chat mods. Much love and prayers. Much love and prayers to you. Much love and prayers to you, girl. Appreciate you being in here. God bless. Hey, Stephanie, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Patty, there you are, girlfriend. Good to see you in here. PG's little girl. Oh, that is beautiful. That is beautiful, girl. Summer prayers. Absolutely. Amen. And let's get down through here, see who else we got in here tonight. See who else we have. Hey, Georgia Wild Child. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Hey, absolutely. Absolutely. Lady Q, how you doing? How you doing? Good to see you in here. Give some shout outs out tonight. Hey, Angel on Earth. Angel on Earth. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that. Hey, Marianne, how you doing, sweetie? Uh, hey, cute kid, how you doing? Good to see you in here too. Cute kid. That is really. Hey, Journey, how you doing? Good to see you, girl. Good to see you. Just chilling. Almost missed you up there. My wrench, how you doing? I'm 98. Hey, girl, you got. You're just a baby. You're just a baby. 98. You still a baby. You got to get as old as me. And according to according to all my haters, I'm older than the ark. Right? I got ringer washers and all kinds of stuff. Right? That's hilarious. Hey, Bridget, how you doing, sweetie? How you doing? Good to see you. Friends, good evening. Hey, lady, how you doing? Good to see you. Lady Catherine. She said, hey, PG. Hey to you, girlfriend. Good to see you in here. All right. There's my Australia. Hey, Phoebe. Good to see you in here, too. That's my Australia. Um, aw. Tab says, hi, Miss Justice 111 Love. Hi, been sick, my friend. Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, girlfriend. You know, prayers going up for you. Prayers are going up for you. Hey, grieving mama, how you doing? Loretta, how you doing? Hi, all. Watch from work out here at Eastman. All righty. Um, such a mystery. I'm gonna tell you. It's like everything's a mystery, right? Everything is a mystery with law enforcement today. Hey, Pam, she's a dollar store, right? Welcome, everyone. Please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Amen. Absolutely. I'm telling you, it keeps the kids out there. It keeps the kids out there. You know, it's not. It's not about whether you like the creator or you don't. You know, it's about keeping the kids out there. You know, hit all of that for the child, for these missing children. You know, regardless you like the creator, you don't. I'm subscribed to. I'm subscribed to almost all the channels. Um, whether I like the creator or don't, um, I still I still give them a thumbs up and I subscribe because uh, you know they got to be doing something. They got to be doing something for the missing kids. If nothing else, playing others like even Andrew, right? Even Andrew, subscribe, hit the thumbs up because if he ain't doing nothing else, he's playing other people's content, and that's allowing Summer's name and Michael Vaughn or Sabat, whatever the other creators talking about. Um, and then it's getting out there. He's got people that we don't got. And a lot of people's going that don't see it here is going to see it there, and that's why you subscribe and hit those thumbs up buttons to keep these people out here, to keep the children. Think about the kids, not the creator. It ain't about our feelings. It's about these missing kids and doing all we can do to get them, found and brought home and justice served. And it just takes just one person that knows something to see it or hear it. It don't matter where they see it, where they hear it, just to see and hear, and the case could be solved. So that's why why you want to always do that. Let me see what I got back here. Hey Pam, you can close the camera, girlfriend, but I got somebody else back there. You have to show your face. You got to show your face if you want me to bring you up, Dorothy. Pam, you can close the camera, girlfriend, but I got Hey somebody else Pam, I'm coming back through. I'm feeding through you. Have to show your face. I'm feeding through your through your TV set or something.
I I shut it off. I want to thank everybody and thank UPG for all the prayers and everything. And guess what happened last night?
On Ziggy and Cher's channel?
No,
Are you?
I ain't talking about them.
Oh,
My
well,
boyfriend went back to work.
oh, great, great. That's a beautiful, girl. That's beautiful.
Oh, and I want to
Anyway,
thank all of you guys for it.
hey,
He's back to work,
amen. Prayer works,
but
girl.
he's been having it rough. His sugar is running a little high
Hey,
at home. So they put him on something else. So
it'll
let's keep it
it'll work,
going. We're
right?
working on a good.
It'll work itself out. It'll
But
work
I
itself
I
out.
I thank you and your channel and everybody here. Thank you for the prayers because
Hey, you're
with the
welcome,
trouble
Pam.
that we were in that first month, it was rough,
Yeah, yeah.
but we made it through it. And I'm happy for that. And I'm happy to have all of you guys. And
God
thank
brings
you guys to the most extreme.
hey,
Thank you guys so much.
God brings you to it. He bring you through it,
And
girl.
guess what I learned? That they make slushies in Pepsi.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
I never had one until Joey was on that pick line and my neighbor, oh, I can't mention, a neighbor,
Right?
it started me on one. I
Oh wow.
love them.
Right.
Joey tried to get me one this morning on the way home. And guess what? The machine was down.
Yeah, right. Just your luck. Just
Had
your
to be
luck.
down. But I
Right.
got one this evening. So I'm
Oh,
good.
all right. There you go. There you go, girl. Absolutely.
We got a slushy now. No, I didn't know they. When I got my first one,
Mm,
I never knew it. I never had one. I didn't even know they made them.
wow. Yeah, girl, I love you, Pam. I really do.
Now it's just like, yes, I've had a case of pop in my bedroom on my shelf, and I've only used 2 cans.
Right?
The rest of it in my cup has been
All day slushy.
all day slushies.
Here you go, girl. Here you go. Yeah, they got those. You can get them slushies in about any flavor, right? It's flavor flav.
My A friend of mine gets a Mountain Dew, and I get a Pepsi
Right.
every time.
There you go.
I don't do Mountain Dew. I gotta do Pepsi.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Pepsi or it ain't me. I ain't doing water.
Right. Right.
But I wanted to thank you all and thank your channel and thank you all for the prayers and to give you the good news. The man's back to work.
Amen. All glory to God, girlfriend. All glory to
Exactly.
God.
And I couldn't have done a lot of it without you. I've had a lot of ups and downs with we had a tree limb fall on our house
Oh yeah, I know. I know.
and getting that done right before the rain hits. And
Hey, Pam. Sometimes you just need people around you to keep you strong. To just keep you. And that's why God's children are supposed to congregate. That's why we're supposed to congregate to keep one
they
another
say
strong.
what makes you weak will make you stronger.
Nah, they say what doesn't take you out of this world will make you stronger. Right? That's what they say, Pam.
Hey, I'm not. I'm just being grateful for everything because you know what? We're all not promised that next day.
I'm gonna tell you.
I want to thank God for every day I live.
I met that phrase. I met that phrase just a lot too many times. Right?
And even though I say my little dollar store,
Hey, I think it's cute.
well, that's the way Candace says it.
It is. It is straight up. It is. That's true.
You
Did
gotta, you gotta do it like they do it, man.
you
You
right?
don't say the Dollar General.
You gotta do it like they said.
He
No,
said the dollar
you gotta
store.
you gotta you gotta do it like you do it and let them do it like they do it.
Exactly, dollar store. That's how Candace says it.
Do it like you do it. Crack me
Exactly.
up, Sam.
Hey,
Girl,
man,
I'm glad
you
you
guess
came up
what
here
I
tonight.
seen this weekend too?
What'd you see?
And I hope everybody's got one because I want one,
What you gonna get?
but they're expensive.
What's that?
A remote control lawnmower, right?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Right?
All
Right?
you do is stand there and the remote will push the mower around.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't think I want to trust that, Pam.
I've
When
seen one work, man. Oh, I
I
see one. I see
I
one.
put
I want that
I put
mower.
I put too much money in my yard to trust something like that.
I want that remote control mower so I can sit on my butt and mow my yard.
You seen those vacuum cleaners that you just put on the floor and you let them go and they're like banging off of everything. Supposed to keep the floor clean all the time.
Yeah, the robot ones or whatever they're called.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna tell you
Yeah, but I
something.
seen they sell a remote control mower to the other day.
That
Yeah.
that vacuum cleaner is one of those times. It's like that phrase, what don't take you out in this world make you stronger. that thing that thing right there is a tripping hazard. I promise you, is a freaking
But you know
tripping
what?
hazard.
Them mowers are about $2,000
For real?
for
Oh,
real.
I'm gonna tell you, like my little Mister Fix It, you know, he's been having some eyes on a freaking John Deere, and I'm like, I don't feel like losing a foot. I don't feel like losing a foot. I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you.
but I
You know
want
those.
a
You know those
remote
power.
control, but
Do you
man, I
remember?
don't know.
Do you
I don't
remember
know if
those
I want to
power
spend that
wheels?
much on one.
You remember those power wheels you get for your little kids? You know, the little kids when they're like 5, 6, 7 years old. You get those power wheel cars. I'm gonna tell you something. Little Mister Fix It had those power wheel cars, and I'm gonna tell you right now. And I do not think I want to get him a John Deere. Right? I'm like, I don't know about this one. I mean, the nail gun, definitely not. But I don't know.
Oh, my boyfriend went out and bought the battery operated mower.
Yeah, you told me about it. You was real excited over that one.
But I want this remote control. But oh no, I don't know if I want to go.
Hey, girl,
I don't know
I'm
if I want to go that pricey.
mm-mm. Shoot. I'm going to tell you, $2,000 for that. You could get your grass cut probably the next 5 years. You know, by like hiring up. You know, like there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood always looking to cut somebody's grass. You know, and I mean they don't hardly charge $2,000. You can get your grass cut all
Oh, and
summer
guess
long.
what? Guess what else happened?
What else?
Okay, this dog, I've been here for over 15 years. There's Junior that we got, which is a four
Marilyn
pound
said.
Chihuahua, teacup Chihuahua.
Marilyn said she's got one of those remote control cleaners, and her cat chases it. She's got the vacuum. She's got the remote control vacuum, and her cat chases it around. That is hilarious.
And, but I went and I had this dog.
Whoa, $2,000. She paid $2,000 for her puppy. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
And then I went and my dog has never jumped up on that bench. But my bigger dog will jump up on the bench. Now my teacup Chihuahua
Uh huh.
got up on that bench. You ask me
Whoa.
how.
Maybe the other dog picked it up and put it up there.
I don't know how it got up there because when I was letting the dogs in, he's like hesitating to get down. It's like,
Right.
you got yourself up there. Guess what, buddy? You'll get yourself down or you
He
ain't coming in.
he might not have got up there. The bigger dog could have put him up there, and then the bigger dog wasn't getting him down. Right?
I don't know how he got up there. But he gets up there on my picnic table, I'm gonna have a problem.
Right?
I'm gonna really put a camera out there in my front yard. I got one already.
Hey, Deputy Sheriff, good to see you in here. God
But
bless. Much love.
I'm gonna let you get back to your live. I'm just having fun.
Hey, girl, I appreciate you coming up.
I love everyone and
We love
thank
you too, girl.
everyone.
You know it.
I love everyone. I love Summer. Wish she was found.
Hey, we
Let's
all
bring
do.
her home.
Amen. Amen.
Let's bring her home.
We need to get something done, right? We got to get something done. I'm
Let
I'm
justice prevail.
I'm really interested to see if Fred Hill's really going to take this lie detectors test. If he's really willing to take this lie detectors test about Summer's case to see if he's telling the truth about everything he's been saying. I'm waiting to see. And Cher said if she could set it up. I don't trust Cher because she said she was going to go into Georgia and hang with and
Billy
hang
Joe.
Billy Joe and support Leilani
All
and
she
Billy
did was
Joe.
send her a banner.
and basically she took in a bunch of money, and then nothing got done.
If
She
you put a
wanted,
van in the driveway, PG,
right? I don't trust her. Like
and then,
Justin. If
and then
Justin was,
the
if
sheriff's the
Justin
one that
was
got her put
setting
in
that
jail.
up, um, if Justin was setting it up, then I'd be all in. I'd be all in. JLR, Justin, Dolly. I'd be all in on it. But Sheer, I'm, she's a grab the money and run. And then we won't ever hear about Fred getting a lie detectors tested all, and none of it. And I just don't, I don't trust her as far as, you could, well, yeah,
So you can trust,
it'd be hard to.
but you know what? A lot of these people, you got to watch it because they want to know what the info they can find.
Right, right. Well, um, I think Fred is like a super big liar. And, I don't think I mean, I have met, a few of those chronic liars in my life. Um, you can't believe a damn, they lie. You don't even know why they're fucking lying, right? You don't even know why they're lying. It's like, you don't have to lie to kick it. Um, why, why do you lie
Why
about
lie? Because you got to cover up the
Right.
next
Why
lie.
why do you lie about every damn thing? I mean, they lie about shit they don't even need to lie about, right? Like straight up. I mean, you know, they just lie about stupid stuff, like the dumbest shit. And you're like staring at them like, can't you ever tell the truth about anything? I mean, you could sit there and watch them do something, right? And they swear they didn't. They just feel like they gotta lie, and you're like, um, I just seen you take that. What was you doing taking that girl? You took that money off that table and put it in your pocketbook. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I mean, it was their money. I mean, who cares if they stuck it in their pocketbook? But it's not like they're taking somebody else's money or anything. It's theirs. And they're like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. It's like, why would you lie about that? Hell, I just sat there and watched you. Put it in your pocketbook. I was just kidding with you. But
Exactly.
but
That's like,
they lie.
did
They
you
can't
watch?
tell the truth. They can't tell. You could tell them. Like what are you drinking? And it's ice water. You just seen them get some ice in the damn water, and you're like, hey, what you got in that cup? You know, is it strong enough for me? And they'd be like, um, say they got something that they don't say it's ice water. They say that it's something totally different. And you're like, I just seen you make that ice water. All right. Why
It's
you got
like people when you watch these well, I haven't had one drink. These drunk DUI drivers get caught by the cops.
Hey, I understand
I
that
ain't
one.
drunk nothing, but they can't walk across the floor.
Man, I tell you what, if I've been out with my girlfriends and I hear whoop whoop, I was like, shoot, girlfriend, I ain't had nothing either. Right?
I
I'm
can't walk
I'm bone sober now.
you know what? I can't even walk that 9 steps forward, 9 steps back sober, let alone drunk.
Hey girl, I could walk it either way. I
And I
can
don't even get drunk. I don't drink.
straight up. Practice makes perfect, girl. Right? Practice
Hey,
makes
did you
perfect.
hear that one in Tennessee in Lake County? Or no, in yeah. He's not getting out. He got no bond today.
All right.
The one that
Right.
murdered that 4 family members,
Right.
he
And took
got no
the
bond.
baby. Amen. As they
No
should.
bond for him today.
As they should.
Next
Um,
court hearing is August 14th.
right. And
And the 4 others.
yeah, man, they arrested a lot of people in that, didn't they? That was insane. Like you wouldn't think that many people would be involved in some criminal activity like that. I mean, and these people are all, it's like group efforts now, right? It's like these
Which is,
groups of people.
PG, did you hear that his girlfriend met him in the jail that she was working in and she was letting contraband go in? There's
Right?
pictures out there where he's got a switch and everything in his room. And this kid started off at 12 being a criminal. And
God.
he robbed a store at the age of 16 and got 10 years. Got out of here. Well, he murdered someone, or he
Well,
unalived.
that family that family was affiliated with him because he was seeing the mother's sister. He was,
Mother's sister.
yeah, the mother's sister. Yeah.
And she worked for the prison that he was in.
You know what? Nothing surprises me, Pam. Nothing surprises.
And when she was letting all this contraband go in, got fired.
Right?
Got
Exactly.
fired. I think that was also a drug deal.
Well, there
Drug
was
deal, sorry.
a lady that I spoke to. I won't give no names, but I spoke to, and she worked in Hawkins County, in the law enforcement, and she worked there, and she told me personally, she said, "Listen, PG, Ronnie Lawson fired that um old Miss Goad's daughter, who worked as I guess a prison guard as well for Hawkins County, but she said that this woman worked as one of the guards, and she was having allegedly affiliating herself with prisoners in there, doing things you're not supposed to do with the prisoners. And I guess Ronnie, fired her twice for having affairs and doing stuff with the prisoners. And then he rehired her back. He hired her back. He fired her once, hired her back, fired her again, hired her back, and then he rehired her like 3 different times. He fired her and rehired her like 3 different times for the same offense. And and this lady's like, I don't know what's going on in there.
This lady that the sister, she was a correction officer in the same prison that he was in.
Wow. Yeah, Amanda, I believe it. I believe it. I'm telling you. People in law enforcement are getting to be just as evil as the regular citizens, on the streets. It's all corruption. It's all corruption. I guess out there somewhere close to New York City, they had a gang, a big riot, like a big gang of people, and they were, attacking a man, and I guess this woman, she tried to, the only one, they had like 100 people standing around with their phones out, nobody calling 911, and a lady tried to, help the man, and they, brutally, attacked her as well and hurt her really bad. And nobody cared. I heard people were laughing when the police showed up. They didn't get her an ambulance. They didn't take her to the hospital. They just stuck her inside of an Uber and sent her home, to see if she's going to make it or not. And she's been in and out of the hospital many times since, because of different altercations with, the severe, attack that she got on her. And I mean, they knocked her completely out. These people knocked her, and they ran up kicking her in the back, kicking her in the head. Just, it was really brutal to watch. And law enforcement, they didn't even take her name. They didn't even take her name, a statement or anything.
They're saying that this Austin guy was affiliated with the Vice Lord gangs.
Right.
So he got caught. When they caught him, they caught him in a pool house.
You know, the point being is, I think that when everyone turned against law enforcement, on different occasions, you know, the people were, I think you know, those last, episodes, of people protesting against law enforcement, and it went way, way too far. It went way, way too far. Um, I mean, I don't think it was protesting at all. It seemed more like, um, they were destroying tons of businesses and everything else. I think it was more of a insight to profit, to self gain out of people's businesses and stuff. If you ask me, that's my
And
opinion.
that's like that.
But
It's like that guy in Texas. No, that teacher that worked in Texas,
right.
and then he went to Arkansas and murdered that or unalived that couple
Oh yeah, yeah,
on a trail.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure did. Sure did.
On a trail, then something trails. And you know what? There was three daughters. There was one wasn't with them, and there was two that was with them
Well, that particular mother got the kids back to the vehicle, locked them, and then went back up there
to
and got
try to save her husband.
she should have gotten that vehicle and got out of there and called for help, and and met up with them to go. What can she do? What could she do? I mean, you know that's what I'm saying. I mean, and she's lucky that the kids didn't get it as well, because I mean, she should have been more concerned with protecting her children and getting out of there and getting some help for her husband. What can you do? What can you do going back up there other
And
than
then when they caught that guy, they caught him at the barber shop
yeah,
getting
yeah,
a haircut.
probably with their money. Probably with their money. No, I'm telling you, I'm a girl. This world right here is unsafe. You have to, you know, like I observe people,
It's
I
like it's like anymore. People put leashes on your kids.
exactly. And you have to watch these people in society and watch their actions. And I'm going to tell you, you know how bad this world's getting when you start seeing women carrying their pocketbooks in the front of them, like they're not carrying it on their side anymore or behind their arm. These women are actually carrying their pocketbooks all the way around in front of their stomachs. And and you got to realize that you know this is getting really bad. And people just can't throw their pocketbook over their shoulder and feel safe, swinging it back and forth as they go into the store. I mean, it used to be you could hold your pocketbook in your hand and swing it back and forth as you go in the grocery store, swing it up in the front seat of the cart and go pushing it around and do your shopping and pay for it, and no problems. But in today's world, you can't do that no more. You can't put it over your shoulder and have it, um, behind you, like behind your arm, um, resting on your hip, or you can't, just have it down by your side or in your hand. As I said, you got to mother freaking, a lot of these women are sticking it completely over their freaking head, right? They're sticking all the way over their head onto the other shoulder, and then bringing it around in front of their stomachs. And I'm like, dang, If I was going to be that worried about my pocketbook, I would just quit carrying one, right? I just quit carrying it.
I'll
I
tell
mean,
you what happened when there was a guy selling insurance around here, and he was walking the streets, and he took a picture of the dogs, of my dogs. This is back when I had the chain link fence. Took a picture of my dogs, took a picture of the neighbor's dogs, and
right?
I caught him stopped down at the corner house, and I said, "Whoa, what are you doing? You better take them pictures off of your phone. You don't take pictures of my dogs.
Right?
You don't go through my neighborhood taking pictures of dogs. You'd be a dog snatcher."
Right? Something,
And
right?
I'll have to, and I called the company because I told him I want your card. I called the company, and he got fired because they called me and told me, because it wasn't just me and the couple over there. He was taking pictures of all kinds of dogs.
you know, I go I go to, if I'm out in public anywhere, I watch my kids. I don't care about my pocketbook. I don't care about my pocketbook. I don't care about my car. I don't care about my car keys. I don't care about none of that. I care about my kids. That's what I'm keeping an eye on. The hell with everything else. That stuff can be replaced. All those things can be replaced, and I don't even care. I don't even care. You know
Yeah,
that.
but it's just you can't even go outside anymore hardly.
Um, I go outside all the time, but you know, I also, you know, I've always got my best friend Smith and Wesson, right? I got my two best friends all the time, so I go where I want to go, when I want to go, where I want to go, how I want to go. I don't play that game. I don't play that game. Don't come up to me. Don't get in my bubble. I got a real problem with people trying to get in my bubble. I will ask you to back up. Step off.
Oh, now Andrew. If he come by your house, he would just roll up the window.
Hey, I appreciate that, Michelle. I appreciate it. God bless Super Sticker.
Super sticker.
Girlfriend, I appreciate it. God bless. Absolutely. I
Everybody
appreciate
give PG
Australia.
what she can use.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, I appreciate it. And it will go back into Summer's channel, go back into StreamYard. It'll go back into some apps making content. It'll go in, it'll go into the apps to make more music videos and pictures and so forth for these missing kids. So I so appreciate your help. God
Oh,
bless.
that picture you made of Andrew.
Right? I
Oh
mean,
Lord.
hey girl, I've been having to post most of my funny stuff over on Facebook. Right?
That was funny
Yeah,
though.
I gotta post up most of the funny stuff over there.
Ooh, that was funny though.
I used to I used to bring a lot of it in here, but um people got too touchy. The haters got too touchy. So I have
Him
to
in a bikini, PG.
right? He was having fun in the sun, right? He was having some fun in the sun.
All right, I'm gonna let you do your life.
Hey girl, I appreciate you coming up, Pam. God
All
bless.
right, love everybody.
Good
I'll be
night.
in chat.
All right.
Love you, PG. Thank you all.
Love you too. You know it. I appreciate Pam coming up and hanging out with us for a little while. You know, it it's kind of nice to get a laugh in here tonight. Everything going on, right? So much going on in this world. It's freaking cray cray, right? It's cray cray out there, and so many children, right? So many children falling victims, and and so many kids, so many young people are victimizing, right? Other people. I mean, you got it going both ways. You got it going both ways in this world. It's getting, getting insane if you ask me. That's my opinion. I ain't seen nothing like it. And it's only going to get worse. It ain't getting better. It's only getting worse, you know. And I have I've been doing a lot of research. I do a lot of research and talk to a lot of people, and I'm always doing something. I'm always doing something, you guys. And anyhow, um and also on TBI is looking into all the tips, including Morrison Cemetery. I wanted to let people know all the tips are being looked into. And they're not looking, they're not skipping over nothing that's been turned in. Um, you know, Summer's case is in the hands of TBI, not Hawkins County, and they're not overlooking anything. So, as for Ronnie saying he's not going to, do this or do that, it's out of his hands. You know, it's out of his hands. They had no recollection of him saying that, but it's also out of his hands. And every tip is being looked into and followed up on. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. I wanted to let you guys know that. And also, Fred Heal has been saying he'll take a lie detectors test on Summer's case. Boy, I can't wait to see if that's true. But I wish, if he's going to do it, I wish that, Justin would take this over. Maybe JLR, or maybe, Dolly, or maybe the lab. Maybe the lab could get with Chris and have it set up. I don't trust Cher. I don't trust her. I'm not going to ask any of my people to donate um, to that particular fund, because whether it gets done or don't, I'm not going to ask my people to donate to it if Cher is the one supposedly handling it. No way. I won't be a part of that scandal. I will not be a part of that scandal. And that's what it'll end up being, a big scandal. And I'm not going to get into that. But, if they want to hand it off to someone, like Chris in the lab, which I know would get it done, they would set it up. They would take the donations. They would set it up, whether, Fred shows up or not. They would definitely set it up. And they would show receipts on it being set up. And I know, I know it ain't fake receipts. I know it would be, legitimate receipts being showed. And then yeah, I would definitely ask my people here, to help fund it. I'm sure a lot of other creators will ask also, to help fund it. And because we want to know. We want, we want to know if Fred's lying or he isn't lying. If he really will take a lie detector test or he won't. But I would like, I would really, yes, Chris and the lab, they are super reliable. They was going to set up a lie detectors test for Jody Sue, and she reneged on it. She ran off and reneged on it. But they're very credible. The lab and Chris is super credible, and I know that they could get it done righteously. And that's exactly who I would like to see set it up and get it done. To be honest with you, I trust them. I trust them to do the righteous thing. And I would be more than glad. I would be more than glad at that point. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Absolutely. But, 'cause, 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 I don't want nothing to do with it, if it's going to go through share. I want nothing to do with it at all because for one, I wouldn't know if the stuff we're looking at. I mean, this chick lives up in Canada. She don't live down here in America. She lives in Canada, and and she would falsify. If in my opinion, Cher would falsify. She would falsify shit and everything else. Um, and scam the hell out of people. So no, I'm not interested in that. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I've seen her, that's what she did. That's what she did with Quentin's case. Had all of those people, think they were funding her, plane fare and all the stuff she needed to go in, where Billy Joe and them was, and then she didn't ever go. She didn't ever show that ass up. After getting all that money, she didn't show that ass up nowhere in Quentin's case, right? Other than on her screen, setting that ass up in Canada there. So, I'm not trusting someone that showed us many, many times that she can't be trusted, right? Like when she was you know, when she was a turd pop sucker for the Wells, right? And hanging up the phone right when we could have got information out of Candace or Don Wells' mouth. We could have got some really good stuff that could have helped Summer, but we didn't get it because she wanted to hang up the phone and be their little friend, protecting their evil asses instead of finding Summer and getting all the answers and everything needed for Summer. She was afraid that if she let them expose everything and we was to get the stuff that, we could grab onto to help Summer, they wouldn't be her little friend anymore. Or Summer's case would have ended up getting solved, and then she wouldn't have, this little money pit, her little money pit to bring in all the monies, that she was getting. And that's what it was about. It's about her. It's not about the missing kids. It's about her and what she can obtain, financially by using the child's name and the suspects around the child's case is what she wants. She wants to use the child's name, but protect the suspects around the child's case instead of getting real information to help the child. That's what she does. And then she talks shit about, I turned it into law enforcement. I was all, girl, you didn't have nothing to turn into law enforcement because you was hanging up, not getting the information to give to law enforcement, right? And once you hang up, you show these people, once you hung up, you basically showed these guys what they're not to be doing, what they're not to be saying. You know, you when you shut people like Don and Candace down, what Don and Candace learned from it. They learned from it. They're like, oh shit, she shut us down, so this must be stuff you ain't supposed to be saying. This is shit's gonna, hang us out to dry. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it, Candace. Stop it, Donald. It makes them wiser to be able to come out here, and then you don't get nothing. You don't get nothing for the missing child because these mother freakers have done been schooled from these people wanting to play their little friend and protect their little asses instead of letting them run that mouth and hang themselves out to dry. Right? That's what you want them to do. You want them to get out there to dry so that this kid can be found, brought home, and justice served. You need that information. You keep that party line open when they're going at it because we want to hear every single thing. That's what's going to make it or break it. Hold on, you guys, just a second. Yeah, that's that's what I'm talking about. Um, well, when you're in like up in Canada, it's hard. It's hard to um, you know, like a lot of people in America, get took from people in other places. And it's very hard. It's very hard to really get anything done about it, you know, because and it costs a lot more to do something about it, when they're not even in your country. And most of the time, there's really nothing you can do because of the different laws, the different laws from there to here. And so that's why you got to be real careful. You got to be super careful, when you're talking about borders. But she's shady. She's freaking shady. So and that's that's the most I can say is she's super shady. And I'm going to tell you, Fred Hill's been lying from day one. He's been lying from day one. It's my opinion. I mean, if you can tell law enforcement exactly, what took somebody out when they haven't even released it to the public, they've been keeping it close to the investigation. This is stuff that they're keeping close to the investigation that no one would know except the perpetrator. Um, you know, and then Fred knows it all. Well, you know, I'm pretty sure if he's the one, giving law enforcement all the insight that what took Cotton Simpson out of this world when it hadn't even been released to the public and no one else would have knew it except the perpetrator. Um, he must have been the perpetrator, right? That's my opinion. I mean, Mother Freaker has to be guilty if he's the only one that knows what law enforcement knows that law enforcement, has been hiding. Um, in order to find the person that did it, right? And then even though he knew it all, and they found the person, who knew it all, and obviously, in my opinion, did it, they still they still didn't prosecute him upon it. I mean, how weird is that? How weird is that? And he had all the motive. He had all the motive. This guy was at his house doing his illegal substances that he made and was selling, right? Everybody knew what he was making, what he was selling. I mean, that ain't allegedly, that's a fact. That's a fact. Everybody knew what he was doing. He even said what he was doing, right? He was manufacturing and using. Even Laura said, he would be in the bathroom, sucking up everything he wanted before he would give her some. She would have to sit out there for freaking 2 or 3 hours while he's in the bathroom. What the hell's up with all these people that that do these illegal substances? What the hell's up with them going into the toilets to do it all? I mean, is there something you need in the toilet in order to do that? I mean, you know, like what the hell is in that bathroom that you need in order to do your substance for real? I mean, do you have to have the toilet bowl seat to sit on? Do you have to have, the sink on the wall? Um, what and why in the hell do you go into a bathroom? I would like someone to answer that for me because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the hell these people's doing. Do they need a bathtub to lay back in while they're doing this stuff? I mean, um, what the hell's going on? What's going on with that? Because I would assume you could do it. You could do it anywhere, right? You could. You got all the shit. What keeps you from doing it? What keeps you from doing it? Any place and anywhere. Why you got to be in a toilet? Why do these people stop at gas stations and go into the bathrooms? What's up with the bathroom thing. That, that's what gets me. I don't even know. I mean, you like when you do that stuff, when you do that stuff, does it all of a sudden, make you take all of a sudden make you take a number two or something? I don't know. I don't know. I wish somebody tell me because I don't know. Don Wells is on the toilet. Fred's on the toilet. All these people's on the toilet. Probably Jody Sue and Andy, out there on the outhouse. I don't know. Just something really weird about it. Oh, wow. For real, Miss Justice? Whoa. Whoa. Who in the hell wants to do stuff that makes you lose? Who in the heck wants to do that? Really? Oh, wow. Now we know. Now we know why Candace was looking so weird in that chair. Right? She's probably laying a deuce or something. That's gross. Hey, butterflies are free to fly. All right. Haven't been here in a while. Hey, girl, I appreciate you being here tonight and I appreciate your support for Summer's channel. God bless. God bless. Much love. Um, wow. I didn't expect that. That's yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Learn something new. No matter how long you live, you're learning something new every day, right? Wow. Yeah. You know, that's disgusting. That's playing on my fragile little mind right now. Like, it's really playing on my fragile little mind right now, you guys, for real. Like I'm sitting here and I'm trying to spin that shit in my head. I'm trying to spin it in my head like, okay, so these people, they like taking stuff that, that they have to be on a commode when they take it because all of a sudden, you know, why don't they just take a mother freaking, why don't they just take some, of that stuff, that stuff. What is it? What is it? Like castor oil or freaking, some kind of other oils, or I don't even know what it is, that stuff that just, that'll make you lose some function, right? That shit'll make you lose function. I mean, why, and you could just eat or drink that shit. You don't have to, you know, abuse yourself the way they do. You don't have to be, abusing yourself. If that's what you want to do. I mean, if you want to sit on a toilet and go to town, lose functions, just just I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's like, stay the hell away from me, right? Stay away from me. You imagine? You imagine somebody coming out of your bathroom, you know, coming out of your bathroom after that? Like, whoa. They went in there like, you know, stank freaking stanked up your bathroom, like really stunk up your bathroom doing that stuff. What the hell? Man, I'll tell you what, you wouldn't be coming back to I know now why Mary said, get out of my bathroom, get out of my house. I know now why she said that. right? Remember she said that Donnie came over with Pam and he went in the bathroom and he wasn't coming out and he wasn't coming out and finally she had to put him out. Yeah, they probably started to smell it. They probably started to smell it like, whoa, why would you even do that? Why would you even do that? I don't even know. That's weird. No wonder. Um, no wonder Laura was sitting outside waiting 2 or 3 hours for her turn to go in and sit on the toilet. What the heck? Whoa. And with that kind of, if that's true, I don't know if it is or not, you guys. I don't know. I don't mess with that shit. So I don't know. But if it was true and something went down, ain't you going to be caught with, ain't you going to be caught in a position you won't want to be caught in? Like, who wants to be caught on the toilet? Who wants to be caught like that? Like if I was an ambulance driver and it's like whoop whoop, we have to pull up and you go in there, I'm gonna be like telling the other guys, get on in there, go get them, Johnny. I got you covered, right? Get on in there. I'm right behind you, dude, and I ain't gonna be right behind them. I'm gonna be heading back out the door. Right? I ain't gonna be right behind them. I'm like, oh hell no. That's gross. That right there is disgusting. I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, these people in Tennessee, some reason, whatever they're doing, they all have to do it on a toilet bowl, which is really weird. Because I've seen, I come from the hood, and I've seen some people doing some bad stuff, and they wasn't on no toilet bowl, right? They wasn't on no toilet bowl. I mean, they were doing it inside of cars. They were doing it, outside. They was doing it, I seen them, the stuff they did, and they wasn't on no toilet. Nobody was in nobody's bathroom. So I don't know what these guys are doing, but they must not be, they must be doing something way different, because I ain't never seen no shit like that. That's really freaking weird. That's really weird. And I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen from, the straws to the roll up dollar bills to you know, the rubber bands going, I've seen everything. But I ain't never seen no shit like that. I ain't never seen nobody ever said, hey, I got to go in the bathroom. I'll be back in about 3 hours. Because I've been like, what? What the hell you going to be doing in the bathroom for 3 hours? I had to go look in that bathroom, mother freaking see what the hell somebody be doing in there for 3 hours. That's insane. Like, you use my bathroom, I'm giving you like 5 minutes. You gotta get the hell out. You gotta get the hell out. You gotta go somewhere else, man. If it's gonna take you more than 5 minutes, I don't want you in there. That's just rule. That's rule. You got to go use your own bathroom somewhere else. Yeah, that's what Laura told me. That's what Laura told me straight up. And I want to let you guys know, Marlena, bounty hunters were somebody hit PG up, sent me this, said, FYI, bounty hunters were at my house tonight looking for Mrs. Marlena Crawford, PG. Right about the time law enforcement was looking for this. Right about the time law enforcement was looking for this, bounty hunters was looking for that. So, what does the bounty hunters want with Marlena Crawford? Well, I think that Marlena, she said that her and her sister-in-law was accused of doing some bad stuff to her daughter, which we know her daughter got taken. We know her daughter got put with a family member. Um, we know all these things, right? We know all these things. This ain't allegedly, this is facts. And, right after Summer came up missing, um, you know, um, all of this stuff was going down. And so, Marlena gets her daughter taken, and Allison too. Allison and Allison's mother. It seems like all these kids were hanging out up on that hill seemed to be getting taken by DCS right after Summer went missing. What a coincidence, right? What a coincidence, you guys, that all of these kids that were, up on there started getting took. And, and you heard Allison's mother say, Don's going to pay for what he did to, her kids and what they, and to Allie's kids and to, their own kids and all of these. She was like, like all these kids, they're going to pay for what they did. And then I think it was JLR. He was like, what did they do? What did they do? He was interested in what did they do. And, she said the R word, right? She said Don Wells and the R word, right? With, to these kids. And yeah, I've got, video of that. I can bring it forth, not tonight, but tomorrow night, I'd be more than glad to bring it to the table. But yeah, she said that that's what was going on. And, if it, put it this way, and her kids got took. Those grandkids she had custody of all got taken away, right? They all got taken away. Allison's kids got taken away. And you heard Jose, I'm talking about how Candace, was the first one to be, she kind of broke, Hunter in, right? She was, man, I'm going to tell you, damn, if something like Candace was your first, it should be your last. To be honest with you, I could say more about that, but I won't. Wow. Anyway, you guys don't want to know what goes on in my head. But like, oh my gosh, could you imagine? Candace being, whoa, damn, that would be like, that's fucking criminal within itself, right? That's criminal within itself. That's abuse. That's abuse, and that's you can. I don't think you get any more criminal than that. Um, I'm surprised. I'm surprised the kid still actually, likes women. To be honest with you, if anything can make you turn the other way, it would be Candace. Just my opinion. You know. Oh hell no. But point being is, all of these people had all of these kids up on there. All of a sudden, all these kids start, yeah, you get the right face there, Wonder Woman. Definitely, that's what you'd be looking like if Candace was around. Ooh. Right? State of confusion. But, the point being is, I found it funny that after Summer went missing, that, Marlena's daughter gets took and the accusations of, of this type of abuse was the force behind it all. And, and then you have Allison's kids get taken, and Jose told about Hunter, and other people's told about Hunter as well. And then you got, that Candace has confided that, she really wanted to brag about that, right? She really wanted to brag about, you know, um, messing up a 14-year-old little boy, right? This bitch is in her 30s messing up a 14-year-old little boy. That's disgusting if you ask me. That's damn disgusting. But, you know, look at her and Don. Look at them. Take a look at them. Because in my opinion, I'm going to tell you what, they are mother freaking disgusting. I mean, they appall me. That's and that ain't my opinion. That's the truth. Um, and then you've got these, but here's my thing. Here's my thing. If DCS comes in and they're taking all these kids, and even, and like, even if Allison was going along with it, and Allison's mother was going along with it, and these people's going to say they weren't. Put a one in the chat if they're going to say they wasn't. I mean, put a one in the chat if Marlena's going to be like, oh hell no, I ain't. And and Allison's going to be like, no, I trusted these people and I let them around my kids, and and they did this against our will, even if it was with their will, and they was getting kickbacks from it, some kind of self gain out of it. That they're going to all of a sudden be saying what Allison's mother's saying, right? Because she wants to save her own ass, right? She wants to save her own ass. They're all out to save their own ass. Even though they're a group of people who was running some kind of weird shit going on, they're going to all talk just like, just like Lisa, right? Just like Lisa over in Arkansas. I was at the Wells house and I had my baby there, and they was taking it away from me, and then bringing it back out, an hour or two later, they bring it back and give it to me. What they did is they came and gave you something, and to take the kid, and then you stayed there doing whatever they gave you. And they went off, you don't know what they're doing to this child, and then they bring the kid back to you and hand it to you. And, and that's disgusting. Basically, in my opinion, you're just, like you're selling your kid out, right? You're selling your kid out for your next fix or whatever. And that's what it sounds like these people were doing. They were somehow, some way making self gain out of what was being operated. The operation ran up there. And, Lisa was like, they came there and they took all the kids, and they took my kid, because of SAers. They took my kid too. I didn't ever get my kid back. Why the hell would they hand a kid back to somebody that was letting people walk off with it, and do God only knows what? Why would they hand that kid back? Are you insane? Right? They should never give the kid back, and they should be right there to take any other kid ever born. They should be right there to get it, to keep it safe from that ever happening to anymore. That's, but she sits there, and she wants to blame Donnie, and she wants to blame Pam, and she wants to, blame the people, the SAers around there. No. You willfully went there with your child, and you willfully got your child taken along with all the other people's kids, because you were willfully participating in whatever the hell was going on up there, right? It's just the way it is, and these people, and I think that's the way it was in Tennessee as well. That's my opinion. I believe that just like Arkansas and Tennessee, you had these people willfully participating in some really sick, disgusting stuff. I mean, some really evil, sinister, weird stuff. And they liked participating in it. They liked participating in it, which was, um, and to be honest with you, I think a lot of them was participating in this stuff because, you know, look at them. Look at them. Look at these people. What I'm saying is, I got to choose my words. I got to choose my words, nicely, you guys. You know, I got to choose my words nicely, and I'm trying to be really nice about it. But the truth of the whole matter is, you know, you can turn the whole, you could turn all the fucking lights off, okay? You could turn all the lights off. And you still don't want it, right? You still don't want it. Not to be rude, not to be mean, but look at these people. Like, look at this guy. For real. Would you want that staring at you? Just straight up, would you want it staring at you? How to the no-no? That right there is a mother freaking turn off, not a turn on. Like, all of these people were turn offs. Even in the mother freaking dark. You wouldn't, that would be even creepier. That would be even creepier, right? It's like, fuck, you already seen them in the light. Turning the lights off ain't gonna help nothing no more, because that fucking is already branded into your brain, right? What you done seen is branded. There ain't no getting that out of there. And I don't give a damn if you turn the lights off or not, because you're still gonna be seeing that shit. It's like a scary movie. And that you ain't gonna forget anytime soon. That's just how those people up there are. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. But, that might be why that, they were all in to that weird stuff. Who else wants to touch them? They have to be around people that don't care what they, what they get with, right? You have to be around those kind of people. What I'm saying is these people are all desperate. They're all desperate. That's my opinion. They're just all freaking desperate. Hey, Abigail, I appreciate it. Gifted one Prayer Garden of America membership. All right. God bless. Mm-hmm. That is so true. That is so true. You are going to be. Oh, wow. Another Prayer Garden of America membership. Oh, Abigail Rose, I so appreciate that, girlfriend. God bless. God bless you. I appreciate that. Much love to you, too. Exactly, Stephanie. We need to get the laws changed. We need to get the laws in this country changed to protect the children, to protect the elderly, to protect, everyone, to be honest with you. We need to stiffen laws where, if you, any way, form, or how abuse a child, it is automatic 10 years. Automatic 10 years. No parole, nothing. 10 years, you will do that 10 years. No matter how you abuse that child, you're going to do 10 years. And if you do it again, if you get out in 10 years and you do it again, you're back in there for life. It's not 10 years anymore. It's going to be life without parole. Right? You ain't coming back out. You're just done. You're done. You get locked in a cell. It's done. It's over. It's just the way it is. This country needs to take back control. It needs to take the control back. Um, law enforcement. Law enforcement needs people to get behind them and push them forth to get, to get things, and the court system need to get behind the judges and the court system and get our country back in order. I mean, we got to get behind them to make stiffer laws and stick and give these people the max. Make examples out of them. Make examples out of them. And if you attack anyone for any reason, like the poor lady that got attacked, right? They knocked her completely out and then tried to, basically, unlive her, to be honest. Didn't care if she was or not. You know, it should have automatically been life in prison for that. You know, it should be life in prison. Um, you're just gone. I mean, if you want to get with a bunch of other people, a group of other people, and and feel like it's okay to get your hits and your kicks and your swings in on, because you're a coward. You're a mother freaking coward. If you have to get with a gang of people in order to whoop up on one human being, you're a mother freaking coward. You wouldn't do that on your own. And since you're a coward and you like to do it in a gang, it should be automatically life in prison. You and your gang should be put away and not allowed back out ever into society, because you're a dangerous human being. You're a very dangerous human being, and you got to go. You got to go. We don't need that out here. This world should be safe for people to walk and be able to live their life. Hey, I appreciate it. Look at that. Gifted another Prayer Garden of America membership. All right. Girl, I so appreciate it. For real, you don't know how much. God bless. That is a gift that will keep giving. Whoa, there's another one. There's another one. Gifted another one. Abigail, girlfriend, I love you and I appreciate it. I appreciate you. You don't know how much. God bless. God bless. Yeah, we have to push for stiffer laws, and we've got to start standing behind our law enforcement against criminals. I mean, if they're going, if you do the crime, do the time. We got to get where, we got to warn our family. We got to warn our family members, look, you better be walking the right path or you're going to end up in prison. You need to walk the right path. You need to stay on the right side of the law. And if you do that, you won't have any problems. You really got to stay on the right side of the law. Don't be breaking the law, and you won't have to worry about, won't have to worry about going to jail. You won't have to worry about anything if you just do what's righteous in the sight of God and the people around you. Just be honest. Just be honest as the day is long. Be truthful as the day is long. That's all you have to do. Be honest, upstanding, God-fearing, and law-abiding. And you'll get through this life just fine. And if you're not going to be that type of person, well, don't expect me to protect you. Don't expect me to be behind you when you're sitting in prison. Let them know it. And if they don't obey the law and they end up in prison, then you need to tell them, I warned you, I told you, I tried my best to get you not to be here, and this is what you choose. That's your bed. You made it. Now you need to lay in it. We need to go back to the old folks, to the old way. You made your bed, you lay in it. Don't bring your problems here, because you wasn't listening. You wasn't listening when people tried to hold you back. People tried to stop you. People tried to give you good advice. You wasn't listening. You made your bed. Now you lay in it. And that's what the old folks did. And they just they let people get their dose of medicine. They let them take their dose of medicine as they should. And we need to get that way again in our world. Oh wow, gifted another Prayer Garden of America membership, girlfriend. I so appreciate it. I really do. God bless. And each and every one of these people who's received it, oh girl, I know that they are so grateful. They're grateful. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you're actually, given a gift that will keep on giving. God bless. Yes, 7 gifted memberships from Abigail Rose. Woohoo! Absolutely. Hey, I agree. I agree, world. Amen. I agree with that. Aw, Australia said thank you. Thank you, Abigail, sweetie. Much, much love and prayers. Amen. Yes, we definitely appreciate that. I wish I could give you all one. God bless you. Hey, girl, God bless you. And I know everybody that got one is so appreciative of it. So God bless. Oh, Pam said thank you again. Absolutely. We so appreciate having her here. Yes, we do. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I agree, Starbucks. Yes. Yes. Tough love. Tough love. A lot of people don't believe in tough love, but I'm going to tell you that if you really love your kids, you'll give them that tough love. You know, I know the old folks did it, like my grandmother. I had an aunt and that was always popping up at my grandparents' house. She was always popping up, and I'm gonna tell you, my man, I tell you, my grandmother, though that woman, let me tell you, she had a straight back. She had a straight back, and she was, you would have thought that woman was made of steel, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna tell you now, she told him, "You made your bed, you go lay in it." Don't be bringing that stress and worry to me. You did what you did. You was happy when you was a doing it, and you get your ass happy now, right? Just get your ass happy now. And I'm gonna tell you, that's the way the old folks were. You know, they didn't fool with you. They didn't fool with you. You do anything, you mess up, you better be handling that all on your own. Because how you gonna learn? How you gonna learn? I had a friend. I had a friend that she had kids, and these kids, um they didn't they didn't love her. They used her, you know. And they just, seen her as what they could get. They didn't respect, they expect. And, and it was always like, you know, using this poor mother up. They were always using her up and using her up. They didn't ever give anything to her. They were just always taking. They were all take, no give. Really, um, no love, no respect. It was all give me and expect. And she finally had to cut them off. She finally had to, like, I ain't giving you nothing else. I ain't got nothing to give you. I mean, that's how down they took her. She had nothing else to give. And they were still wanting more and more and more. And she had to let them go. She had to let them go. And you know what? Once she stepped out of the picture, once she, really meant it, stepped away from it, out of the picture, well, guess what? They went and made their own. They started working, and they started taking care of that ass when she refused to take care of it any longer. They had to go take care of themselves. And, and they did it. And they did it. But until she was willing to put out that tough love, you know, I don't care. I can't do this anymore, and stepped out of the picture. And they were, they expected her to just do everything and them do nothing. And and she had no choice. She had no choice but to. Oh wow! Hey, there's our sweet Norway. Much love to my mentor in chat. I miss you. Hey, girl, we missed you too. I was just thinking about you. I was really thinking about you, um, recently. Absolutely. I was wondering where you was, why you hadn't been in the chat, and I was talking to God. I was talking with God, girl. So I appreciate you coming in here. I'm gonna tell you, God is good. God is good. But for real, for real. I really was thinking about you. Matter of fact, I was going somewhere. I was in the vehicle, and we were stopped. We were stopped somewhere, and I really started thinking about sweet Norway, and I was talking to God about her, wondering where she was, what she was up to, why she ain't been in the chat, and I was getting a little worried. And looky there, God's got her right in here, letting us know that she's just fine, and she's okay, because that's what God does, right? That's what God does when you start to worry about folks that you love. He has them popping up, and letting you know that they're just fine. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it. God bless. Absolutely. Welcome to Summer's Army. Amen. Yeah, it is beautiful to hear from her. But that's what I'm talking about. And all of these people seem to have been, a group up there on that hill doing some really sinister stuff, if you ask me. That's my opinion. Um, and then, here lately when the graveyard came out and it started getting, reported into TBI and into, the different law agencies down there, which I'm talking about Hawkins County, the feds and so forth and so on, and a lot of um, information was going in about this particular cemetery and all the stuff, um, allowing us to fully believe that Summer's there and that it really does need to be looked into. Um, Guess what? You've got Chadwick getting arrested, right? You got you got old Jimmy Long being looked into. You got Marlena Crawford, bounty hunters after her, right? You got this guy already arrested because they want to talk to him. This is what he used to look like. This is what he does look like. What the hell is that? Look at this. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. Um, that part of Tennessee where Little Summer was, man, it has some really undesirable human beings around there, right? And you want to know what I think? You probably don't, but I'm going to tell you anyway. What I think is, I believe that these people they would have been really, really good at protecting children. These people right here, if they would have turned the table, away from their evilness, to goodness, man, they would have been a reckoning force to get through, to hurt or touch any child. What I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is, I think these kind of people right here, would have been really, really good at protecting children. Had, instead of being what they was, they could have, they're just, they're just mean enough. They're just mean enough that no one wants to mess with them. No one wants to, Nobody wants to, um, have any dealings with these type of people right here. Like Fred Hill, people were afraid of him. He would have been great at protecting kids, right? I mean, if Fred put out the word, anybody touch a child around here, they're going they're going to wish they didn't. If this guy, anybody touches a child around, Don Wells and Candace and Jody Sue's and Andy's, these people would have been like super good people to protect children. They could have really, really put some fear in people not to be touching kids, not to be doing anything bad to children. They could have really, been working. They would have been a good force of righteousness if they would have been righteous, right? Everybody in their community would have been safe had they just been righteous. But everybody in their community wasn't safe because they decided to be evil. See, you choose. It's up to you. You choose which path you want to take. If you want to take the righteous road or if you want to take, the road to Hades. They decided the road to Hades, didn't they? They decided, that they wanted to do illegal substances and get into all kinds of, bad. They wanted to be bad people. They wanted to be the bad boys and girls. They wanted to, get into all of that sick, evil, sinister stuff. And they didn't care about kids. They didn't care about teenagers. They didn't care about young adults. They didn't care about old people. They wanted to use and abuse anyone and everyone in their path, no matter what age, what culture. It didn't matter. They're just out to self gain any way they can off of whoever's around them. And the only thing you could do around people like that is fall victim. And that's what all these children did. All of these children were falling victims. I believe Marlena's child was a victim. I believe all of Allison's kids were victims. I believe that, Allison's mother's kids were victims. I believe that all these kids were victims. I believe that the Wells kids were all victims. I believe Fred Hill and his and Laura's kids were victims. Because Laura plainly said that her one daughter was down at the Wells house with some some SAer, right? Some SAer doing illegal substance when she was way underage. And I guess this SAer showed up at a place that Laura's daughter and her girlfriend was working at, and actually, mistakenly got Laura's daughter's girlfriend instead of he was after Laura's daughter, but ended up getting her girlfriend and doing something really bad, according to Laura, right? According to Laura, bad stuff happened. And that's terrible. That's terrible. But it sounds to me like it started on the hill. It started on the hill, right? Everything seems to started on that hill. All of everybody's problems started on the hill. And all their problems, started way before Summer came up missing. After Summer went missing, that ain't when all the problems started. That's when all the good stuff started to happen. That's when all of these kids started getting taken and put in better homes where people don't do stuff like that to them, right? Where they're not used and abused and, handed out like that for some self gain. That's when all the good stuff, I believe that Summer didn't only save her brothers, but I think she saved Marlena's daughter. I think she saved, you know, Allison's kids for a while, like Bear. I don't know if you could have, I don't know if there was any help for Hunter and his older sister at that time. I think, it done went too far for them, but I think it did help Bear. I think it also, I believe that, it helped those kids that Allison's mom had that got taken away. I think it helped them. And who knows how many other kids DCS removed that they knew was up on 110 Ben Hill Road. I mean, these are the only, this is the ones we know about. I'm sure there's some that we don't know about that were taken as well, right? Because I know there was more kids than that up on the hill. I've heard about it. Matter of fact, um, there was one little girl made a call to her daddy, and he came and told the Wells that his daughter won't ever be coming around there again. Now, I don't know exactly what went down, but I do know he said that, his child wouldn't ever be spending, no nights or anything at the Wells house again. And he was a friend to him, had his child up there. Him and his wife were friends to Candace and Donald, had their child there. Their child, didn't even spend the night. Something happened before the child even got an opportunity to spend the night, right? And that was horrible. That was horrible. And that wasn't Marlena's child. That was somebody else's. I think so, Amanda. That's my opinion. I think so. I think so. I think all these people are hard up. I think Allison and Allison's mom. I think these people are hard up for friends, hard up. It's hard for people like most people don't associate with people like that, right? Most people don't associate with people like that, and I think it was really hard for them, you know, for them to find anyone to be around because most people don't like people like that. Hey, Sweet Norway, I appreciate it, girl. I appreciate it. She said, just because you, my sister, nobody has a heart like you. Hug your children. Aw, love for Summer. Hey, girlfriend, I definitely will. God bless. Much love to you. Much love to your daughter. I wish you could come up. I wish you could come up, Sweet Norway, and talk with us for a minute. I'd like to know how you're doing, how you're getting along, and how your daughter's doing. I'd like to know how you're doing. I haven't heard from you in so long. If you guys don't know who Miss Norway is, she's a lady that was with me from the very beginning. Um, at the very beginning, when I first started over here, um, first opened um, a YouTube channel here. She would come up and stay with me almost every night. She would come up, so I didn't have to be on panel by myself. She would come up every single night and stay with me and hang out with me and talk to me so I wouldn't have to be up here by myself. Um, beautiful, beautiful lady, so caring. She loves Summer so much, and she was so kind. She was so kind. She was a friend when I really needed one, and she's been a friend ever since. And but she had some health issues and stuff that that started, and hinders her from being able to be here all the time. And so let's make sure we pray. We send the prayers up for her. And she's got a beautiful daughter that the last time I heard was, living back at home with her, and her daughter came on once. We got to meet her daughter, see her daughter, beautiful young girl. And Miss Norway is beautiful. Her child is beautiful. She's actually got two daughters. And 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 then she's got one daughter. She's got one daughter who, like Summer, something very tragic happened to one of her children. And, and when I first met her, she was struggling with that. She was struggling with that, which I could only imagine, a mother, having to ever endure something like that. But she had two other beautiful daughters as well. We got to meet one of them. Hopefully, we get to meet the other one someday, right? Hopefully, we get to meet the other one as well. But beautiful family. She's a very beautiful woman. Oh, there she is. There she is. I'm bringing you up. Oh, where did you go? Where did you go? I lost you. Come back. I think she accidentally kicked herself off. I put the link out for you. I just saw her. I was going to bring her up and she disappeared on me. I don't know what happened. What happened to you, Norway? Come back. Says device not connected. She's having a little bit of difficulty here. Hold on. Oh, okay, okay. How you doing, lovely?
Hello?
Yes, you're
Hello?
on. Hello,
Oh,
can
you,
you hear?
yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. How
Oh,
you doing, sweetie? Good to see you.
it's so nice to see you, my sister. I have missed you so much.
I miss you too. You know it.
Yeah, I didn't want to come on because I'm not feeling well, but when you asked me, I couldn't say no, so I just,
How is
uh,
your beautiful daughters?
um, she is lovely, but it have not been easy because I've been very sick. So
Yeah,
I've been really fighting for my life, Prayer Garden. So I've been in, I need the respirator a long time. So,
right.
and it's only me and my daughter. I'm so tired and I have been so scared. And
Hey,
there is not much they can do. So now I am starting to seeing.
hey,
And you take this
God's
like,
got this. God's got this.
yes, I know. And I have you. Yeah, I am so happy that I can
He ain't
use my,
gonna. He ain't taking you nowhere. He ain't taking you nowhere. Till he wants you. You ain't going nowhere. There's no expiration date on your foot.
thank you so much. I just
So
want to say I was so because I have a difficult to talk because of I have this long time in the throat. I just want to say I love you and I miss you and now I am back. I can listen to you because I have in the hospital I couldn't allow my computer because I didn't have they say nurses say I need to
yeah,
wear it for my ear.
yeah. You need a
So
headset.
volume headset, yes. So I just want to say, kiss your children, and I really miss you, my sister. You know what you
Okay.
mean for me and what you helped me with.
I'm
You
sending
have
you.
helped me so
I'm
much. I
sending
will
you
never forget.
much love and prayers. I'm sending you much love and prayers.
Yes, and I want you to remember, I will never forget what you did for me.
And
When I cleaned out the room, I will never forget you, my
that was
sister.
a two-way street. You
Yeah,
came up. You came up. I was just telling my people. You came up every night, and
yeah.
sat with me so I wouldn't be by myself.
Oh,
And you don't know how much I appreciated that.
oh, you have saved me so many times. I have been lonely when I have had you. And sometimes I dream about you because I wish I could be close so I can visit you someday. But
And
it is what it is. I can see you in my dreams sometimes because you have meant so much for me.
You see me hugging you. You'll see me
Yeah.
hugging you in my dreams. I'll be
Is-
hugging you.
Are
I
you okay? Are you okay?
Oh yes, I'm doing as good as I guess a human can do, right?
That's good. And your children also.
They're
Yeah,
I'm telling you, they're growing up. They're growing
they're
up too
growing
fast,
up.
right?
Yes, they do
They,
too fast. Yes.
yeah. I want to
And
tell you, I can't believe how,
no,
big they're getting and and prospering in this world like like they're doing and I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of my kids.
yes.
All glory to God. I
All
know.
glory to God. And to all the women, all my sister in chat, all the new one and all the old one. I really do love you. And thank you so much for being here for Prayer Garden. She's really all of everybody's sister. She's a beautiful woman. And it's a
And
beautiful chat you have.
I
And for
appreciate
everybody.
it.
And also, God bless you and God bless the world and America now in this time. It's so much prayer needed for everybody.
I'm telling you, it's
Oh,
really it's coming down to the wire, right? It's coming
it's
down to the
coming
wire.
down and see
It's
what God
getting
is.
Yeah, it's touch and go now.
God,
And
God wants to take back His planet. It's enough. He said enough is enough.
I believe you.
I
And
believe
you
so.
know, and that's what I was going to tell everybody is through all of this research and as much as I've been on the internet here lately, because I've been out here for like 4 years, four
Yeah.
years now, or maybe a little more, and you know, and over this time span, I don't just um do all this research, as far as the missing kids and the victims and everything goes. I also run by a whole lot of stuff, to do with the Bible and to do with the last days and to do with
Yes.
revelations and so forth and so on. And more so, now than ever before, I am starting to hear a lot of people come out and, they're talking about, how some's talking about how, they something happened to where they were no longer alive for a little while, and doctors, the doctors say, yeah, and they wasn't with us for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, some of them maybe longer, and they didn't, they just basically um flatlined, and the doctors were giving up,
Yeah.
bringing them back, but they
Yeah.
came back, and some of them are saying, I went to heaven and I seen the Lord, and I seen this and I seen that, and they were able to tell the doctors where they were during all of this. They were able to tell their parents where they was, you know and all of where everybody was in the hospital and stuff, and they, and here they are back, and they were back here to basically warn people to get righteous, and warn them to to walk the right path, and that there is a God, and and a heaven and a place you want to be. And then there's other ones that did the same thing, only they went to the bad place, right? We
Yes.
went to the bad place and they came back, and they're like, whoa, you don't want to go there. They're like, hey, look, all of this stuff was going on down there. You wouldn't believe it. And what I seen this and I seen that, and all of them agree that it's very hot. They agree that you're, immediately, your tongue cleaves to the roof of your mouth, that that is stuff real, so stuffy you can't hardly even breathe hardly down there. All of them let you know that there's these horrible things that's wanting to get a hold of you, and do like do really bad stuff, and
Yeah.
then it's not going to be a party down there. It's not going to be no party down there. It's
No,
going to be some really weird things
but
going on, a
you
place
know,
you don't want to be.
But you know what I was thinking about? You know, when we God came before and he flooded the earth, only the Noah's Ark, and
Right,
now the flood is coming again all over the earth. And God just say it is enough. And you know what, Prayer Garden? They lost me 2 times in the hospital. They have to revive with the machine and the pump,
right,
and they go in and give me,
right.
but I didn't see nothing, but I also didn't feel nothing. What can I say? Sadness or anything. But I believe, I believe in heaven and hell, of course. But you know what I think sometimes? I almost start to believe this is hell. I am honest with you. This must be hell because we are losing children. Parents are killing their children. Children are killing their mothers. We are raping people. How is it possible? I cannot, you know what? If there come a bee inside my home, I don't even want to kill it because God has a plan with that insect for the world, for the universe, and I don't. And so I believe this really start to be hell, and I really believe He want to clean out this hell and made a new earth for everybody. And you
Um,
see demons. I don't know if that is right. That is just my feeling. I don't know. What do
well,
you?
hey, I perfectly understand. I perfectly understand how a human could feel that way because,
Because it
of
says in the Bible, I going to make
all
them.
the stuff we go through. But, God, see, this ain't hell. This definitely isn't. It feels like hell, but it's not hell. Actually, you would think this is heaven if these people that actually went down there into
Yeah,
Hades. I'm going to tell you what, those people that went down into Hades, they really, if you listen to what they said, um, you would think you're in heaven on earth,
yeah,
um, compared to that place. And the Bible plainly says that it's fire and brimstone, and it says that that Jesus has the keys. He has the keys to hell, and that he at the end, once everybody's hurtled in there, that's going to be. And it says in the Bible that the walls of hell will have to be broadened. That they'll have to be broadened to hold everybody due to
yeah,
the fact that there's so many. It says in the last days, there'll be very, very few on the righteous path. The wide and the wide path that leads to destruction will be full, but the narrow path that leads to righteousness will be few and far traveled,
yeah,
because most people don't know how to get on that path. I mean, you got God's, if you're following what God wants you to follow, like, you have to, a lot of people don't know this, but um that women, as for women, and God don't even hear you pray unless you cover your head, unless you put your hand on top of your head, or you put a scarf or a hoodie over your head. God ain't even going to hear your prayer.
you,
Even through Jesus, He's not going to hear your prayer, because it plainly states in the Bible that women are to cover their head when they pray.
yeah.
We are supposed
That
to
is
do
true.
that.
That is true, sister. That is.
And and most people don't. No, most people don't. They don't know that, and they don't do it. Um, Also, a lot of people don't understand that you're to keep your body covered. You're not supposed to be running outside with, um, with short shorts on
I
and
never.
crop tops and all of that. You're not
But can
supposed
I
to be
say
doing.
something about that? I am sorry to
Hmm.
interrupt. You know what anger me? Many women who using the hijab. I don't talk about religion now. It's just the scarf.
Right,
They're using the scarf, but they're using the tight clothes and everything is hanging out. I don't like
right,
it
right,
because everybody need to be a witness for God. And when I go outside, I try to cover me up because not only am I a woman, but I am a grown woman. I need to cover up. But I have always been like that. And that's why
right.
I am so sad because I am not feeling good. I have is isolation. So if
Right.
I live with you, I can go with you to church because I want to learn everything. I want to come closer to God. But
Right.
what I believe so much, the only thing who is righteous for everybody in the world is that we are going the same way. We are all going to die. And you
Yes.
know, also when
Amen.
I was in hospital, I promise you, I was never scared for myself because I am so tired. I have to admit, I am just tired of being sick. But I was thinking, oh God, what about my daughter? What will they do?
I'm gonna
Because
tell
we are
you, I've been there. I've been
yeah,
there,
that's why I
girlfriend.
know.
I
Yeah,
have been where, you know, I have been,
yeah.
in my lifetime, I have been so sick that,
Because you are a single
that you
mother.
just don't care. You don't care if
Care
you go or you don't. And
I know you have been alone with your children for many years after you lost your husband. I know what you have been through.
right.
Yes,
And
you have. I know.
but I know what you're talking about. I really do. But you just got to trust God. You got to pray, and you got to know that he'll pull you through it. Like they
Yeah,
say, the tears come at night, but joy comes in the morning, right? Joy will come in the morning,
yeah.
and you just got to trust God, to be with you and hold on to you and keep you moving in the righteous direction, you know and that's like one of the main things that I pray for is you know is that God keeps me on the righteous path. I really fear getting off of it, and sometimes I think I do out here in the YouTube world.
It's
I feel like I do get off of that path, because these people are
no human. It's
you got
Satan.
so many evil people
There
coming
is
sideways at you, and haters coming at you,
so much.
you kind of feel like that if you don't stand your ground with them,
Yeah,
then they'll try to succumb you, overtake you, and
yeah.
you can't allow that to happen, and but it's not who I am. It's not who I am.
And God know that.
Yeah, I hope he does, because
Yeah, he does. He knows everything, but that is to be human. Uh, yes, I want to say this is what I love about this channel, that you also talk about God and children because that is so important. I want to thank you uh, because and say to all the women here to support you because you are so good person, and I love you, and I am
love you
sorry that
too.
I take the time, and we can talk later one day. I just want
Absolutely.
to say I love you.
Absolutely. I miss you.
Thank
I
you
miss
so
you.
much. I miss you, my sister.
Hey,
Bye bye. Thank you
bye
for your
bye,
time.
sweetie.
Bye bye. Bye everybody. Bye.
She is such a sweetheart, an absolute sweetheart. I love that woman. I love her. She reminds me of my mother. She reminds me so much of my mother. She always has. She's always reminded me of my mother. And I definitely love her. But she's right. She's right. This earth can feel like hell. It really can, but I'm telling you, it's not. This ain't hell, people. Um, there is a hell. There is a hell. It looks like there's a heaven. We got a heaven to win, the hell to shun, while we're on this earth. But God gave all humans, you know, He gave every human freedom of choice. God goes before us. God goes before us. He's already into tomorrow. And Jesus goes with us. Angels watch over us. And, every last one of us, not just the righteous, but also, the bad people. We all have an angel, every last one of us. And every last one of us, the Holy Spirit is there for everyone, not someone. And if you want to find Jesus Christ, if you really want to find, God through Jesus, then, and you want to get baptized, and so the Holy Spirit can come upon you like it did Jesus when he was baptized, and cleanse you of all sin, and your eyes could be opened, um you know then it's there for you. Jesus died for everybody, not somebody. But a lot of evil people, they're not thinking about getting righteous with God. They're not thinking about, where they're going to spend eternity. And, and it's a shame because a lot of humans, end up in the wrong place. Nobody's promised another day. We're not promised another second, right? Every hair on our heads counted, and when God wants us, he's going to take us. I think the problem is in this world, it's too many people's afraid of the devil, and they're not smart enough to be afraid of who we really need to be afraid of, and that's God Almighty. I don't think that these people are smart enough to realize that, when Noah was working, for God, and he went into Egypt and he had that stick, um, I don't think people are smart enough to think about how, all the other sorcerers and things that were there, they made, they threw their sticks down, turned into serpents, and then Noah threw his down, and his swallowed up all the other ones. It swallowed all the other ones, and then his stick turned back into a stick. And I don't think people understand, that that's God's power right there. And God's the one you better be fearing, because God's the one that says whether you end up in Hades or you end up in heaven. God's also the one that says if you get another breath today or you don't. That's all up to God. Satan controls nothing. God controls all things. And people need to be scared of God, not Satan. Satan's going to be in hell along with all the evil people. He's going to be in hell wishing he could get out too, but he can't. He's going to be hoping for probably a drink of water. I don't know if he needs a drink of water or not. But if he does, he ain't going to get one. And all the people there are going to be forgotten and remembered no more. That means once you're there, you cannot ever get out. You're forever there, suffering for eternity. You will be forgotten, remembered no more. And all the good people are going to just be living, and they ain't going to have no memory of you again either. And that's a sad thing. But you had all to gain on this earth, and you could have gained it all. But you choose not to, when you choose not to do righteous and follow God the way you're supposed to. And a lot of humans don't. And that's why we got all of this evilness on the world, earth. We have all these people, doing all of these evil things and stuff. But Jesus said, don't be afraid of this body. Don't be afraid of this body being destroyed by wickedness. They can't destroy your soul. Your soul's going to live for eternity. Your soul's going to be where one day they wish they was. And they probably won't be. So, you had all to gain, nothing to lose when you walk on the, when you walk in the light and on the righteous path, right? And, those people are going to wish they was you. They're going to wish they was you. If they die in sin and they end up in the wrong place, they're going to wish they were you. You just got to, you got to let them do what they do, and you got to do what you do. That's just how it is. Don't be like them. Be proud that you're not like them. Be thankful that you're not like them. Look up and let God know how thankful you are that you're not like Don Wells, that you're not like Candace, that you're not like these people that can, destroy a child. And in my opinion, they did destroy a child and think it's funny. Not have no remorse, no mercy, no truth. just think that you're getting away with, you're getting away with your dirty, evil ways and all proud that you're getting away with it. They ain't getting away with the damn thing. And they're too ignorant and too blind to see it. That's just the way it is. And I don't envy people like them. People like them make me sick. Because I see how much good they could do. I see good in all people. I've seen how much good these people could do. And they choose to do evil. And I feel sad for them. I really do. I feel sad for them.
Candace tried to adopt, or try to let me. Well, I was supposed to have adopted the one above Summer, the little boy, and I was told I wasn't going to get pregnant. I had ovarian cancer. I wasn't going to have a youngin'. And all my friends around me was having kids and stuff. And when she's pregnant with him, she told me that that she would adopt him out to me since she didn't want him anymore. She didn't want to keep him because she already had enough as it was. And then when it was time to adopt him and her to have him, she took off and fled the state. And then she got mad over something petty, I guess. I don't know what it was.
Candace didn't flee the state. Candace had her last 3 kids right there in Tennessee. She had all 3 of those last children right there at 110 Ben Hill Road, is where they came home to. Each one of them came home to 110 Ben Hill Road. The only one that was born out of state is the oldest boy, and he was born over in Arkansas.
And did not let me adopt him. And she quit talking to me for like almost a year after that. So I didn't see him again until he was like a year old.
Oh, okay. Okay, so she pulled back when she wasn't going to get what she wanted in the adoption. And
I think Dawn had a lot. Now that I see that, I think Dawn had a lot to do with that because of what's all been going on with these children and what's been happening.
Okay, did your daughter see a suitcase packed for Summer around the time she went missing?
Yes, she did. She's told me when Grandma or whatever, Grandpa, whatever her name is,
Grandass.
Grandass, yeah. When Grandass brought her home that morning, she said that she seen a suitcase and it was packed, that her and her daddy was going away, and it was just her and her daddy. Nobody else was going. It was just her and her father going. And yes, my daughter has talked to the police. Yes, my daughter has talked to FBI. So yes, they do know this.
And Grandass is the one. See, Marlena's daughter wasn't supposed to come home until Sunday. Marlena was going to pick her daughter up on Sunday. She was supposed to spend the weekend with Summer that particular weekend. But for some reason, unexpectedly, Grandis comes running with Marlena's daughter back to Marlena's house on Friday.
Late Friday afternoon. She went there on a Tuesday night. And she was supposed to stay for a week because it was in the summer and she was out of school, and they were supposed to go to wetlands and stuff like that because my car was down. And Candace said, let me have her. We're going to go to wetlands. I'll pay for it all. Me and Dawn will take care of her. And I'll bring her back to you on Sunday evening when we get back, or you can pick her up. We just stay in touch and I'll let you know. Well, I didn't have time to stay in touch because Friday morning about 10 o'clock, granddad was bringing my daughter to the bottom of the hill and dropped her off at my house.
Right.
Where I lived at that time in Bayletson.
Absolutely.
And I asked my daughter why she was at home so soon. She said that, here comes the suitcase thing, said that her dad and her was going away on a field trip and she had to come home on a trip somewhere. They were going away for a couple of days and she had to come home.
Did your daughter say that she actually saw the suitcase, actually saw it packed?
Yes, my daughter's seen it packed. She's seen them putting clothes into a suitcase. She also said that she picked out her favorite dress to take with her. I mean, which she did. She had a favorite dress. It was pink and it was Paw Patrol. It was the pink Paw Patrol.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. I believe there's a picture of her in that particular dress.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there is.
Them kids knew not to go off of that hill by themselves, period, for one. For two, they ain't nobody just going to pull up down there. What's going on and why is this happening? Because this has never happened. I mean, no kid has never went missing. And I'm telling you, I was raised down there, brought up down there. I mean, my sisters and my brothers was brought up down there. I mean, never once in your lifetime knew that kids went missing down there.
Right.
Ever.
Nobody ever.
And then you want to mention about the dogs or whatever. I heard in the story about Summer Wells's case where somebody said something about the dogs not barking or whatever. Them dogs up on that hill would alert on anything and everything that moved. So he can't sit there and say that them dogs never barked or whatever. Them dogs up on that hill would raise hell until he would holler about 15 times to get them to call them off to make them hush. I know, because my daughter, Summer, give my daughter one of the pups out of the video. Well, I think you've played it maybe, or somebody else has played it, where she's outside and she's got a puppy in her hand. I had a dog that come out of that litter. Actually, matter of fact, the dog that Summer had in her hand, she gave it to my daughter, and it ended up getting sick and dying. I think somebody poisoned it. But anyway,
that was that Yucky?
No, that was I don't remember what she called. Maybe it was Yucky, the little brown one with one blue eye and one brown eye, and he was spotted up. He had no tail.
The one she was holding in that picture.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Dawn and Candace said that was Yucky, and matter of fact, Candace later tried to pawn off some dog that we all know was not Yucky at all, and we didn't ever know what happened to Yucky. We had no idea what ever happened to Yucky. So Yucky
Summer gave it to my daughter,
and it ended up being unalived as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that.
But just to make it all clear that my daughter did not stay up there for weeks and weeks at a time. I didn't just drop my kid off with her. She wasn't up there but like 2 days tops at the most. I think that was Andy Bernard's old lady that said, or maybe had said, that I had dropped my daughter off and she'd been up there for weeks or whatever. I don't really know who said it, but my daughter never went up there for weeks at a time. My daughter was always with me. Always. She never hardly went anywhere.
Actually, that was the first time you'd ever let them keep your daughter, wasn't it? Wasn't that the first time that you ever allowed them?
That was the first time I ever in her lifetime let them keep her like that. Ever.
Right.
Because if you wasn't close family to me, if you wasn't my sister-in-law, if you wasn't my sister, if you wasn't my brother, or if you wasn't any part of my ex or her father's people, you didn't keep my youngin'.
Did you ever see Candace or Don Wells or Grant? Did you ever see Summer and those boys be abused up there on the hill?
I mean, I've seen them have stuff thrown at them. I've seen them being whooped. I've seen them being knocked down. I've seen them. I even seen the last time I was up there, and I would think that was like around my birthday, like maybe a couple months. Well, maybe it was about a month and a half before. Month and a half. Yeah, because she went missing in June, right?
Mm-hmm.
May the 13th or May the 11th, or maybe it was a couple of days before Mother's Day. I saw the oldest one smoking pot. And I was like, what the heck are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you letting them? Oh, well, it's okay. And which Candace was doing Lord tabs at the time because her teeth was swollen up. They was drinking a big bottle of liquor. And I had asked Candace, I said, so Don hasn't took off on one of his drug sprees. She said, no, not yet. He's been good for a while. We've been trying to clear or get her life together and this and that. I said, well, that's good. I'm proud that, y'all are trying to live right or whatever. And then it wasn't not sure after that. She had called like a week or so after my birthday. My birthday's on Mother's Day. And she said, he's took off again. He's been gone for like 4 days. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, and I don't know if he's coming back this time or not. What am I going to do with all these children? What am I going to do about paying the bills and all that stuff? And then when that day that I was up there for Mother's Day, right around there, CPS was coming in to make a claim on them going to school dirty or not being in school enough. It was something around that area.
Now, what she's talking about is Candace was seen by the teachers abusing Summer. And the teachers had contacted Child Protective Services, not one, but multiple teachers had turned Candace in because they witnessed the abuse she laid on Summer at the school. They were at the school for some reason, and these teachers, all witnessed something, pretty traumatic go down, to the point that they felt it was, graphic enough to contact DCS. And this is the funny thing because she said, in May, she's up at the Wells house around May when her birthday and everything. And Summer would have been already shaved. Her head would have been already shaved because her head got shaved in I would say April. It would have been shaved in April. So she would have already had the shaved head when Marlena was there. Marlena did not mention Summer's head being shaved like that. Also, but it's good to know that, May is when Child Protective Services got involved. As, Marlena did, give us a timeline on that now. And it was still open case in June. It was still an open case. And there was no closed case the day before Summer came out. Nobody closed shit. The Child Protective Service case was still open. And Don Wells told me it was. He told me that, he just told everybody that, because he wanted to, because he could. And that, and he wanted to make it look like the case, was all shut down before they took the kids and, and all this bullshit. But it wasn't. He told me that case was still open. He said, I'm not going to lie to you, sissy. That case still open. So, and so I know it was, he let the cat out of the bag on that one. And, but, all of her hair was shaved off at the time Marlena was up there. Hunter had been up there during this time as well when her head was shaved. It seems like all these people, even after her hair was all shaved off like that, these people were all still up there, still hanging around, still affiliating themselves, And that's also at the time Summer was getting very, sick. She was starting to get sick. And maybe the teachers noticed that, this child was, not looking real well as well, once Candace kind of, attacked it Summer. I think it drawed their attention to, Summer's well-being, as, really made them take a look over her and see that, she wasn't looking too good. And she would have been, she'd have been bald at the time, at that particular time as well. Her hair would have been all shaved off. Probably the teachers mentioned that as well to, DCS, hey, this kid's got his hair all shaved off, and this woman, is welling on this child, and and the child looks doesn't look, just doesn't look healthy to begin with. So, with all of this stuff going on, if I was a teacher, I guess, I would be taking mental notes and turning it all in too. But Candace, and Summer, like she said, the next thing she knows, Summer comes up missing. And also, let us remember what Marlena said there early on. She said that, she let her daughter go up there. I believe Don Wells. When, he said she dropped her kid off, all the time up there and stuff. I believe it. I believe, I truly believe that. I don't think that's the first time Marlena's left her kid at Don and Candace's house. That's my opinion. And then went off, doing what Marlena wanted to do. And, because Marlena said that, she acted like she was upset that Grandis dropped her daughter off, because she said, they were getting ready to have a cookout and party and and everything the day her daughter got dropped off. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. If you remember her saying that, when Grandis dropped her daughter off, that they were, fixing to have a big cookout and a big party. And where would she get all the stuff to do that? I think she got all the stuff to be doing that, up on the hill when she dropped her daughter off. That's just my opinion. And I think this was what was going on with a lot of these people. With a lot of them, they were getting something by dropping these kids up there and leaving them, and go back to pick them up later, which is disgusting. It's totally disgusting, if you ask me. Seeing that it looks to me like, these kids were, Jody Sue said it best, go ask what, Andy was giving Candace to sedate these kids so they can be touched. I think that's pretty much, clears up what was going on up there. So, and why these kids, why so many of these kids were being there. And it seems like, they were being left there, sadly, by their own parents, right? Like Allison, she was allowing her kids to be up there all the time, no supervision. Marlena's daughter, no supervision. And, other people's kids up there, no supervision. None of these kids were having supervision. So these people were, really, I think they knew what was going on. That's my opinion. I'll keep it. But as hard as this topic is to talk about, Marlena, basically basically said that her daughter, came home on Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning. I thought it was supposed to have been Saturday after church. I thought it was Saturday after church. That's kind of changing story. So we don't know for real if she came home on Friday or she came home on Saturday. We don't know because she's like 10 o'clock, on Friday. And then she's like, no, after church on Saturday. So we're not sure exactly when her daughter, was taken home. All I do know is I seen a slipping slide on pictures, and they were having to help Summer up. Summer was crawling around on the ground like she could barely get up. She's very weak, looking very sick, very weak. And I think something very bad went wrong for Summer. That's my opinion. I think something went wrong. But you heard Marlena say, that Candace was supposed to take the kids to the water park. Don't you find it funny that Marlena's talking about how Candace is supposed to go to the water park, and then Hunter is talking about the effing water park too? And do you guys find that weird? Because Marlena's daughter goes up there on Tuesday, right? The Tuesday before Summer comes up missing. And she's supposedly there all the way to Friday or Saturday. We're not 100% on Friday or Saturday. But she's there, for a few days with Summer. And then she shows back up at Marlena's place, right? And they were supposed to be water parking and doing all this stuff. And then, come Tuesday, when Summer, disappears, the day she disappears, you got Hunter talking about this water park stuff as well. They were supposed to be going to, Jonesboro to the water park and, all of this stuff. When Granny's in the hospital, they're spending the whole day trying to get prescriptions and Granny taken care of. But they're supposed to end up going to a water park. That's bullshit, if you ask me. And Marlena's using water park stuff as well. It's like all of these people are corresponding together to get stories and facts straight, to spread out here and to spread to law enforcement. And it's like all of their shit is coerced, right? Put one in the chat if you feel that all of their shit is coerced. I mean, they done sit down, they all done, they all done know the script. That's the opinion I'm getting out of these people. They all already know what to say. Because they're all on the same page. They're all on the same page with all of this bullshit. And I don't think it's just coincidence that these people are all, all gurgitating the same BS. I think we've all, I think we all have been in a little group, right? Whether it was at school, whether it was in, grade school, middle school, high school, or maybe even, even at home or hanging out somewhere with your friends. But I think we've all been in those little groups when, somebody comes walking, right? Somebody y'all talking about, here they come. And everybody's like, shh, shh, you know, everybody say the same thing. Everybody be nice. Everybody say the same thing, or everybody, play it cool and ask this and you ask that, and you know, and when the person comes up, you're rehearsed, right? Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Everybody's already grouped up, done talked about it, and when the person pops up, which in this case would be law enforcement, everybody's already coerced, right? Of course, of course. You know what to talk about, what not to talk about. You done been, schooled on it all. And I don't know who exactly is running the classroom in all of this. I don't think it's Candace or Grandis or Donald. I don't think they're smart enough. I don't think it was Fred Hill or Laura, because they're not fucking smart enough either, to be honest with you. And Marlena certainly ain't smart enough. And I'm going to tell you, I kind of think, the teachers here might be Andy Bernard and Jody Sue. That's just my opinion. Put a 1 in the chat if you think so too. Because that's my opinion. I think, they ain't too smart, but I think they're smarter than the rest. That's just my opinion. I think, Jody Sue and Andy's a little more schooled, in the evil, sinister field of life. If you ask me, I think they've been there, done that more. And I'm pretty sure it's Andy who thought about the Starlink and the extra alibi for Don Wells. I think, I think it was, and I think Andy did know everything that was going on over at that hill. I think Jody Sue, told the truth about Andy supplying the stuff. I think they did know everything going on. And I think they were making bank, if you ask me. I think they were making big bank, off of that little operation. In my opinion, they had all to gain, nothing to lose. And but I think I truly believe that Don Wells was the one that orchestrated that sick shit. I know that Andy and Jody Sue probably, got in on it. And Fred Hill and probably a few other people. Quite a few. But I think Don and Candace orchestrated it all, because they'd already been doing it in Arkansas. They already was doing it up in Utah. And I think they started it back up in Tennessee. And I just think that these other people were profiting from it. And that's my opinion. But, when it came to how to get out of all of this, I think that was, bigger brains than Don and Candace's, to be honest. Yeah, right, Amanda? I agree, girlfriend. I agree with you. I agree. When it comes to IQ test, absolutely. Absolutely. But I'm going to tell you, you don't ever underestimate these evil criminal minds. Don't ever underestimate how evil humans can be, how evil they can get. And you better be able, we get warned, right? We got warned to be, to be as wise as the serpent, right? We was warned to be as wise as the serpent. Don't be like a serpent. You're supposed to be, as mild as a dove, but you're supposed to be as wise as that serpent, because that's the only way you can protect yourself against it, is if you're, if you know what to look for, if you know what to be on guard for. You can't protect yourself against anything you don't know about. You gotta be a fast learner and keep up with what's going on. And you can't be nice. Once upon a time, I was real nice person. I mean, I was really nice. Unbelievably nice. Right? I was a super nice person. I felt sorry for evil human beings. I felt really sorry for them. And that was my mistake. That was my mistake. I still feel sorry for them. But I'm not nice when it comes to them anymore. I'm no longer nice. I feel one good turn deserves another, right? That's how I feel. Meaning, I'm not going to tolerate them. Not going to put up with them. Not going to be nice to them. They don't deserve. I'm not going to cast my pearls before swines. Right? That's what I'm talking about. If you keep casting your pearls before swines, they'll trample them, and then they'll turn to get you. Means they'll devour you. Be careful about being nice to evil humans. Can't do it. And you get warned about that. Now, my sweet Norway, she said, that God flooded the earth and he's going to flood it again. That's not true. I wanted to let her know that's not true. God's not going to flood the earth. That's why he made the rainbow. God put the rainbow over, over the throne. So it reminds him not to flood the earth ever again. That's why the rainbow's there. That's why we see a big rainbow in the sky. It's to remind God not to flood this earth. So it's not going to flood. This war is going to be God's war. And when I was talking to Norway, about the people who went to heaven, the people who, went to the, other places. There's also a lot of people's been talking about, they're having dreams about the Lord, about Jesus returning. Matter of fact, I had one of those myself. And I knew it was a warning. I knew that, that I was being warned, to get my house in order, that the Lord's coming. He's going to be taking people up, and there's going to be people left behind. Matter of fact, I seen it too. I seen it. So I'm a witness to that. And I believe what these people are saying, because they described it. They described it the way my dream was as well. And, of all these people, and there's people being left behind, and it's a scary thing. It's a very scary thing. But so many people right now are having these dreams. God's children are having these dreams, letting them know to be ready, um, to make sure that you got plenty of oil in your lamp, right? You better be waiting. You better be oiled up with your light shining bright, because when the Lord comes, if you ain't got time, to try to get oiled up then. You better be, ready to go. You better be ready to go. And that's what it means, when they were waiting, right? They was waiting, and they all had their lanterns, and some of them didn't bring enough oil, and they wanted, can I borrow some of yours? And the other one said, no, you can't borrow mine. You can't have none of my oil. You should have brought plenty of your own. What they're talking about. And then the other ones had to, what happened was those people that had to go, try to oil back up. What they're trying to say is, or gas back up. But the Bible says oil. They needed plenty of oil. Bring enough oil to keep your lantern burning. Basically, what you're being told is you got to get on that righteous path. You got to stay on that righteous path. You cannot get off that righteous path. You got to keep that, that light for God and Jesus Christ burning, and keep moving in the right direction. And don't, for any reason, do not, run out of it. Do not, start getting away from God, because if you get away from Him, and you might not make it back in time for the rapture to take you. That's basically, as what is being said. Don't ever, always stay, Jesus up, stay Jesus up, and righteous up 24/7. Don't ever, don't let your guard down. Don't let your guard down. Don't let people pull you in any direction away from the Lord. Right? You got to get up every day praising God. You got to get up every day's got to be Sunday. Every day's got to be Sunday, just like every day should be Christmas. For me, Christmas don't come once a year. Christmas is all year long, right? It's all year long, you guys. It's not one day a year. When Jesus was born, he was born to save this world. And he worked day and night to do it. He works day and night to do it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't like to let my guard down. Sometimes I do. I shouldn't. Well, I'm going to tell you, when you get away from God, when you get away from God, then you don't feel worthy. You got that faith of a mustard seed when you're 100% with God, when you're 100% doing righteousness, when you're 100% worshiping God, loving God, praising God, being glad for everything that God gives you and happy for everything. When you are, lit up, when your light is, completely lit, and you're on fire for righteousness and doing God's will and everything, it's, you have that faith of a mustard seed, maybe even more. You can move those mountains and those trees and everything else, because you have that faith in God that He's going to do it for you, right? So you can watch that mountain be moved. You can watch that trees be moved. You can, you'd be surprised at how much God loves you and cares about you when you're loving and caring about him. But it's very easy to get pulled away. It's very easy to get pulled away by this world. And and then you lose your faith because you don't think you're worthy for God to heal. You don't think you're worthy for God to love. You don't think you're worthy for God to protect. So you're losing your faith when you let people pull you in the wrong direction. You're losing your faith. You're losing the one thing that you're here for. You're not here on this earth for anything other than to prove to God you can live forever and for eternity. Man, this life don't last long enough to let people pull you away in the wrong direction. You shouldn't ever let anyone pull you in the wrong direction. But it's easy to be done. It's easy to be done. Because the flesh is always fighting with the spirit. Your spirit's always fighting against this flesh. Because your flesh, wants to do what you want to do. Your spirit wants to do what God wants. But your flesh wants to do what you want. And when you give in to the flesh, you're living for yourself. When you don't give in to the flesh, and you're living in the spirit, then you're living for God and you're doing what God wants you to do. That's the difference. Amen. Right, Starbucks? I agree. I'm going to tell you, I believe in the mustard seed. I believe in it. And I know God can move mountains. Trust me. I've seen miracles. I've seen so many miracles happen. Actually, I am one. But I have seen them. I've seen them, other people as well. I've seen, beautiful things happen. And God does move mountains. He does, he definitely. God is good. God is good all the time. All the time he's good. I'm going to tell you that right now. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about something else tonight before I head out of here. And I'm going to be heading out here pretty soon. Because I wanted to talk about it, before now. But I wanted to talk about the Idaho 4 case, about Kaylee and Maddie, Xanax, on Xanax's boyfriend. I wanted to talk about them. His name was Dylan. He's got a name. His name's Dylan. In the Idaho 4. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Brian Kohlberger, he's now thinking about appealing what he promised not to appeal. Put a 1 in the chat if anyone else has heard this, because I heard it. And I was like totally shocked. I was like, oh no. Yeah, Ethan, I'm sorry. You're right. Dylan was the girl in the room below Bethany was in the basement. Dylan was the girl below Kaylee and her girlfriend's room. Maddie and Kaylee's room. That it was a girl named Dylan. I'm sorry, I got them confused. I got Ethan and Dylan confused. Dylan is a guy's name too. That's probably why. But yeah. And I heard it's because they supposedly got him inside of some kind of isolation or something where he can't talk to his mother. Like he wants to talk. They said the only thing that he spends more time doing than staying in the shower and washing his hands is talking to his mommy, right? He talks to his mommy. They said he was on the phone with his mother like a whole full day, just talking to his mom. Um, so he's real close to his mother. I don't know how he could be so close to his mother, but yet treat women the way he treats women, right? Um, Allegedly, he was supposed to say, make a statement on to women belong in the kitchen and, and the bedroom. What? I mean, I agree. I agree that, that it would be nice. It would be beautiful if mothers could stay home and, raise their kids and, and clean the house and cook and take care of everything. And, a man could, nobody had to go out to work, but the husband, the man, and make enough money to, to support their families, like they did back in the, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. That would be beautiful, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be so beautiful if women could, could stay home and take care of, the house? That's a full-time job. It's a full-time job staying home, keeping all the clothes clean and 3 meals on the table and all the shopping done and the bills paid and the kids all taken care of. And it's a full-time job. Just, running a household is a full-time job. But you know what? The reason that women had to go out and work is because, the men working, women had to rely on him for the money to pay the bills and to buy the food and the clothes and all the stuff they needed to run the household. And if he didn't want to give it to them, well, the kids didn't get clothes. The woman didn't have money for the food and she didn't have money to keep the lights on and, everything going. And well, it was a real problem, wasn't it? It was a real problem. A lot of families suffered that had men that didn't want to, pay the bills. And that's why women, had to go out there and they had to start working and they had to make their own. So that, if he wasn't going to do something, well, she didn't care. She could pay the bills and she could take care of the kids and she didn't have to ask and depend on a man for everything. Because every woman don't have a good man. And women have to step up and do what they got to do. I don't know if Brian Kohlberger understood that or not. He probably didn't because he's a very, self-rounded, self-centered, self-seeking human being, right? Couldn't think past the end of his nose about anything but himself, if you ask me. That's my opinion. But he took 4 innocent people out of this world. He took 4 innocent people out of this world in this particular home right there, and none of those people deserved to be taken out of this world. Not one of them kids deserved what this man done. If indeed he did it. I don't see him doing all of that by himself. I mean, I just don't see someone doing all of that by themselves. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe one person could go in and do that much damage, It's really hard to believe. It's hard to believe that nobody got no help. That's hard to believe as well. It's hard to believe that, nobody heard no screaming or anything. And this is an DoorDash person who showed up to actually, drop off some food that night. Man, she is so lucky, right? She is so lucky that she was able to get in there and out of there before everything started to go down, right? She is really lucky. Because he showed up right after that. She left out of there at 4:02, and here he comes at 4:13. He's entering this place. He's entering the place. And you got Kaylee and you got Maddie up here in this one room. And that's the room he goes straight up, and he goes straight to the room as if he's been in that house before. Right? Put a 1 in the chat if you think he was in that house before. I think he was. I actually believe that he was in there, prior to everything. That's my opinion. Because he knew the layout too well. He knew the layout way too much. Yeah. No one getting help, right? Something's really weird about nobody getting any help. Because did you guys see where the ring camera, somebody's ring camera across the road picked up the scream? You could hear, I believe they said they believe it was Xanax screaming. But you could hear this loud scream, on the ring camera. And how could people inside the house not hear this? How could they not hear? And, and Dylan's right here. She's right there in that room, right below Maddie and Kaylee. And Maddie and Kaylee was, really, she's right underneath them. And there's no way that, she didn't hear the noise on the ceiling. And, she had to hear stuff. How are you not going to hear all of that? She heard enough. She opened her door and actually seen this man, right? Bushy eyebrows, looking at her and leaving. She heard enough to open the door up. She heard enough that she started hollering, Kaylee, Kaylee. Now, when she hollered for Kaylee, because they said, Xanax went up there. Xanax went up to Kaylee and Maddie's room and saw Kohlberger, and Kohlberger turned around and saw her, and then he chased after her back down the stairs. Could he have, when he turned and saw her, could it have been because Dylan was hollering, Kaylee, Kaylee? Could Dylan had possibly alerted him, that Xanax was coming up there? I don't know. This is just, my opinion. Could that have been why she was hollering Kaylee, Kaylee? Because, he, for some reason, he turned and he saw, and she said that she heard Xanax running back down the staircase, right? She said she heard running back down the staircase. And if you hear somebody running down the staircase, don't you think you might want to get them some help? Right? That's what I'm thinking, Lady Q. There had to be some inside something going on. That's just my opinion. I'm not believing this stuff. I can't believe that there's 2 other people in there. Now, the girl in the basement, the one that's way down there in the basement, it's a possibility, she might have not have heard nothing. It's a possibility that, she didn't hear anything. I don't know. Um, but Dylan had to heard something, you know. And she called Bethany. And told Bethany, she was scared enough to run down to Bethany's room and spend the freaking rest of the night, right? And when she came out into the hallway, when she came out of her room, out into the hallway, she saw Xanax laying, because that door right here was open, and Xanax was right inside of it on the floor. So when she comes out to come down this staircase to run down to Bethany's room, she saw her roommate, which she tried to call. She was trying to call. She seen her laying right there inside the room on the floor. Now, I would have, I would have went down the hall and looked at my roommate, wouldn't you? Put one in the chat. If you came out and you saw your roommate, which you've been trying to call, laying on the floor, you would have went, if you thought she's just like, passed out from drinking, I'd have went down there and looked at her. Right? That's what I would have done. I would have said, oh, look, she's passed out. Let me run down here and see if she's okay. And I'd have ran down there to the open door and took a look. That's what I would have done. And, and I got a feeling that, why didn't she do that? Why didn't she do that? Why did she run down to Bethany's room and leave her friend, her roommate, laying on the floor like that? If she didn't feel anything was really wrong, if, she felt that nothing was really wrong, why did she do that? It tells me that they knew something was really wrong, right? Just my opinion. And yet they still didn't get no help. Why? Why? No, Debbie, that was Bethany. Bethany's the one that had a toothache, and she didn't take no medicine until the next morning. She got up about 9 o'clock in the morning and called her dad up, which is a dentist, and he told her to take, some, some type of stuff but it's weak stuff. I mean, it wasn't like, anything that's going to alter you, It was just over the counter. So no, it wouldn't have altered her anyway. I mean, I could almost understand, Bethany not hearing a lot because she's all the way down in this basement. But, the other girl is right here between all these people, getting took out. Dylan is right here, right below two girls that get taken out over top of her. And then she's right next door to two more people that get taken out. And the altercation with Xanax happened right here. Xanax was running down the staircase, and actually Kohlberger met up with her right here in this hallway, which was right outside the other girl, Dylan's door. And she was hollering and she was screaming and she was talking, and this girl had to be hearing it. I mean, she had to be hearing it. Right. Yeah, it does sound like there was an accomplice to me, I'm just wondering why she hollers right when Xanax goes up the stairs to, see what's going on. why she hollers, why Dylan starts hollering, Kaylee, Kaylee. Because, it sounds to me like that's why Kohlberger turned. And if Kohlberger could hear, Dylan hollering, Kaylee, Kaylee, then sure to hell, Dylan could hear all of that screaming and everything that was going on, right? She should have been able to hear all of that. She should have been able to call 911, with all of this going on. And if you open your door up and you see some bushy eyebrowed person, in a ski mask, I think you're going to, and they walk away and leave. I think you're going to lock your door and call 911 immediately before they come back, right? Before they come back, you're going to be calling 911. I need law enforcement here now. There's some weird person in the house, all dressed in black, that's got their face covered. They're carrying some weird thing in their hand that looks like a weapon, and I need you to show up. Right? If you come out your room and you see the roommate laying on the floor and you're too scared to go down there and look at her, then you need to be calling 911, right? And I also heard that when the boy went in and he went up to see, to look on these girls, the people in the house, because these two girls were afraid to. And when he went up there to look, to check on these people, that these girls were already crying. They were already bawling and crying. Why would you be bawling and crying if you don't have any idea what's going on? Make that make sense. Why the hell would you be crying if you didn't already know something? Right? That don't make no sense to me. I'm not going to be crying. I mean, if I'm afraid and, I can't get a hold of somebody and I'm afraid and I call, I call somebody to come over and go look, can you come over here and walk through the house? Because, last night I seen some weird guy or thought I saw this weird guy. Could you come and check? And I'm following him up the staircase. And he tells me to stay on the staircase. Don't come any farther. He's going to look. And I'm standing on the staircase. I'm not going to be crying. I'm going to be like, waiting to see what he has to say, right? Do you need me? Do you need me to come up? What's going on? Are they just sleeping? I'm going to be asking questions. Are they okay? Are they just passed out? What's going on? Because I'm not going to be thinking the worst. I'm not going to be thinking the worst. I'm going to be thinking the best, right? I want to keep hope. I want to keep, I want to keep all the good stuff. That they are just, still passed out. Somebody needs to get them up on type thing. So, yeah. I don't know. I just find something really suspicious. I find something really suspicious about this whole thing, And I also, when Dylan was giving her, when she went in there, she didn't go too hard on Kohlberger. If you took notes, she didn't really go hard on him. She didn't go hard on him like, Kaylee's sister did. Kaylee's sister really put a foot in, in his backside, if you ask me. And a few of the other people were putting was putting a foot in there too. When they got to speak. But Dylan, she came up there and right from the get, I kind of felt it was fake. When she was doing it, ooh, 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 and then taking her hands and like, I'm sorry. And then she snapped right out of it, right? I've been having anxiety and and then she snaps right out of it and seems to be normal. That ain't how that shit works. That ain't how that stuff works. If you've seen somebody, that's actually has panic attacks and stuff, if you've really seen real episodes of it, that ain't how it works. If she was really, having that going on, somebody would have had to come and help her get the fuck out of that chair and leave. She couldn't have continued. Put a one in the chat if I'm right, because I know I am. I've seen people who have panic attacks, and I've seen them try to, do brave stuff. You get them all the way there, you get them in the damn chair, and they just got to get out. I'm sorry, they got to leave. They can't go through with it. The shit's real, and they have to get up, and you have to take them out of there. And you got to calm them down, and they got to get into a damn safe place. They got to get into a safe place before they can be completely calmed down. They will tell you, I need to go to this place. I need to go to, I got to go home. I got to go right now. Please just get them to where they want to be so they can calm down and they can be okay again. And, later they'll apologize, but there's nothing they can do because that shit's real. And if that shit was real for her, she couldn't have sat in that chair. She couldn't have continued to do what she done. So in my opinion, it was fake. That's my opinion. I apologize if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Beach Creek Live. I thought PG was quitting at the 4-year mark. I guess she can't stop telling hair lies. I think you put an extra E on that. It's her, not hair. Lies. You need to go back. You need to go back to school for a while and learn to actually write. The fucking spell. To be honest. And yeah, you're right. I thought about actually moving on from all of this Beach Creek life. I really did, but you know what? And that's when it seemed like Summer wasn't going to be able to be found. That's before we realized we got a cemetery to get looked into, right? And that opened a whole new door in Summer's case. And you know what, Beach Creek Life? When that door opened, I wasn't leaving. I ain't leaving until I see it through. And it's going to be looked into. And if you are Marlena, you got a bounty hunter looking for your ass, right? You got a bounty hunter looking for your backside. I'm sure that bounty hunter would like to talk to you along with law enforcement, right? Why don't you take care of your problems, learn how to sweep your own front door porch instead of coming over here trying to sweep mine, right? Don't come over here and try and sweep my porch. My porch ain't dirty, but yours is. You got a bounty hunter looking for your ass. So why don't you go turn yourself in? Because I heard bounty hunters are pretty damn rough when they get you. They're pretty rough. They don't take you in like law enforcement does. They got a whole new style of how they take you in. I don't think I'd want a bounty hunter looking for me. Just goes to show that you ain't no upstanding, law abiding citizen, right? There you go. But why don't you just come? You're coward also. You're coward. Why didn't you come in here under your real name? Why do you got to come in here all fake? Why don't you take the link and come up and talk to me? Come and see me. What's the matter? You don't want to go to Crystal's? You don't want to go over to Crystal's where she's not going to put up your cash app? She ain't giving you a damn dollar. She ain't going to give you a damn dollar for your voice. She ain't going to give you $1 for the information you might hold on Summer Wells' case. She ain't willing to do that. Is that the problem? You can't forget me, can you, Marlena? You can't forget me. I'm hard to forget. Right? I have that effect on people. I'm a hard bitch to forget. Right? People like you always, I live rent free in your head forever. I'm going to be a bitch that you don't like for the rest of your life. Right? Because I tell the truth. I don't lie. I tell the damn truth on you. I tell the truth on you. And then I play the receipt. You know what I do? You know how I tell the truth, Marlena? I repeat what the hell you said. I repeat you word for fucking word. I quote your ass. And then I play your voice to everybody saying exactly what I just said. All right. And then everybody says, yep, she said it. This ain't he said, she said BS. That just came out of the horse's mouth. PG's right. By God, she said it. Yeah, that really gets you evil people, don't it, Marlena? It gets you. Because you mother freakers do not like hearing your own fucking voice in your damn head. And what you hate even more is everyone else hearing your voice in their head, which shows them who you truly are. Right? Yeah, you don't like that. I'm going to tell you, should have took heed, Marlena. When I first came out here, I don't lie. Put a 1 in the chat, everybody, if I said when I first started this channel, and many times since, that I didn't come here to make friends with no one. I came here to help Summer Moon Utah Wells be found, brought home, and justice served. That Summer is the topic, and the gold is to find her, bring her home, and get justice. I was not out here to make friends. I was out here to help this little girl. And I sure to hell ain't being friends with no number 1 freaking suspects in Summer Wells' case. And I've said it many times, Marlena, and you should have listened and you should have took heed to it. Right? There you go. My chat's telling you. Look at all the ones. Look. There you go. There you go. Absolutely. I freaking said it. You should have listened. You should have took heed. What did I lie about? I ain't never lied about shit. I'm not out here to be your friend. I don't want to be your fucking friend. See, that's what separates me from the turd pop suckers. That's what separates Summer's army from the turd pop suckers. They ain't nobody over here looking to be your friend. We're not your friend. We're Summer's friend. We are Summer Moon Utah Wells' friend. We love that little girl. We care about that little girl. And we want her found. We want her brought home. And we want justice served. And you don't mean shit to us. There you go. We don't need you no more. That's what makes you upset. We don't need you no more. We got all the information out of you that we needed for Summer and for Summer's sake. You're useless to us at this point. Unless you want to get the reward fund, that Dog the Bounty Hunter's got. 150,000. 150,000, that's a lot of money for somebody like you, Marlena. A lot of money, honey. $150,000. Woo, you could buy one hell of a piece of land and a big trailer. You could have a double wide on there. With all the commodities. You'd be all set up. You'd be set up for life. Right? And your brother. And your brother. And your brother's girlfriend. You'll all be set up for life. You'd be living the dream. But you can have that. You can have that 150 grand. If you want to go to law enforcement and tell what you really know. If you want to go to law enforcement and tell about your brother-in-law, Chad Arnold, meeting up with Candace and, going over to Morrison Cemetery that day. And then he's been stalking the cemetery ever since because he's scared that somebody's going to look into that grave like he was stalking us up. Right? Like he was stalking us up. He was stalking my friend out there while my friend walked around and trying to find something that they had hidden. Why would you hide the grave if you ain't got nothing down there, nothing in it? Why would you hide it? Why would you put flowers on it? If nobody's in there, why would you go put flowers on some odd person's grave? If Summer's not down in there, that's weird. That's just weird. And then, to hide the whole thing. So nobody, if they came in there, they wouldn't even see that particular grave. That's even weirder. And then to be stalking people up that's in there, some people can't even get out of the vehicle, right? Some people have to hide in a vehicle because they can't get out due to weird stalkers, right? Yeah. Why would you be up there stalking people up if there's nothing there? That's my question. Maybe you want to go tell Ronnie Lawson and Mr. Pruitt that. Oh, that's right. You can't go tell law enforcement nothing because your ass is wanted by a bounty hunter too, right? You go to tell them all about Chad and you end up getting got yourself. Well, I got a solution. I got a solution to your problem, Marlena. Make a phone call, okay? Make a phone call. Make some phone calls. Call Dog the Bounty Hunter. Say, hey, I know some information on Summer Moon Utah Wells case. The number's all over the place. Make the phone call. Say, I got information. And for that reward, I'll give it to you. And then tell them, I want my number. I want my, because if they're giving a reward, then they got to give you a number in order to collect that reward. Tell them you want your number for your reward. If it leads to Summer being found, you want your number. And they tell them what happened and all the stuff. They will check into it. And if she is found, well, you just give the number that they gave you and you get the reward. That's how it works, right? That's how it works. You get your number. You don't even have to give your name. They'll know you by, nobody else will know that number but you. And if it leads to Summer being found, then you call them back up, give them the number that led to the findings, and they give you the 150 grand. That's how simple it is. There you go. And with that 150 grand, I'm sure that you can pay whatever, bail or whatever. You're probably not going to, you just get a slap on the wrist and go home. Matter of fact, if you got that kind of information, you could actually make a deal with law enforcement to drop everything. They'll give you complete immunity. And you'll get the reward for that type of information. You're so ignorant. You don't even know. You don't even know. That's the path I would take. The path I would take is calling law enforcement and telling them, look, I want that money that Dog the Bounty Hunter is offering, and I want complete immunity to give up everything I know on Summer Moon Utah Wells case. And I got some good stuff. They'll make a deal with you. Go in there. Get it done. Let the little girl be found. Buy yourself a big piece of land, a double wide trailer, and live happy the rest of your life. Stop running around living the way you are. Stop running around protecting evil people and start protecting the righteous. Start doing good things in your life instead of shitty ones, okay? There you go, Marlena. Best advice I can give you. But I'm not talking about Summer's case right now. I'm talking about the Idaho 4. I'm talking about 4 beautiful people who were destroyed in a house, and I don't understand how this Dylan roommate did not hear what was going on. I don't understand how this Dylan girl sees the perpetrator and doesn't even call 911. She's so scared she can't go down the hallway to see her friend, but she can't call 911. There's some shit going on here. Just saying. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. Either they had stuff in that house that they needed to get out of there. They had some stuff they wanted to clear out before law enforcement came, or something. Something ain't right here. Yeah. Look at him. Man, he's in there. He's inside. Look at that. He's inside. And he takes out these 2 girls above Dylan, and he takes out these 2 people right here, right next door to her, which Okay, right next door to her. But it started in the hallway right there outside her door, right there outside her door. Because they said in this hallway right here, there was actually splatters. There was actually splatters, right? On the walls. They found splatters in this hallway walls. You know that she's screaming outside that door. Xanax is screaming outside. She screams so loud they pick it up on a mother freaking ring clean on somebody else's home. I mean, all the way away from there. You can't tell me the people inside there didn't hear that shit. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion when it comes to this particular case. This was 4 beautiful people. All of them going to be something in the future to help other human beings. And all those people's lives they would have touched. And they'd have done so much good. Well, they're not here to do it now. So many people in this world are not going to get the kindness, the love, and the caring that they would have if these 4 people would have still been here. All those lives they would have touched and made better ain't going to get touched now. They're not going to get touched. All because one person decided to do pure evilness. And 2 people inside the house failed to call 3 little numbers. 911. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it. They say that they're dealing with survivor's remorse and yeah. I say you should when you're too ignorant to make a 911 call. You see somebody like that, if you see somebody dressed like that outside your home, you call 911. Let alone if you see them inside. Right? I don't care what's in that house. You need to make that call. If you're scared enough to come out of your room and run down into a basement and sleep with your friend, then you need to call 911. You feel somebody in that house needs help. You obviously feel like you need help staying safe. Then you should be calling 911 to keep everybody else safe too. Right? Huh. 168 on the like button for you, PG. Hey, I appreciate if you're number 168, Jim, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm going to tell you something. If I would have been Xanax and I came down to the kitchen and the sliding door, this freaking sliding glass door was wide open, and when it wasn't supposed to be, like everybody's already in the house and that door is, wide open. Let me tell you something. I wouldn't have went back upstairs. I'd have went out that door, ran to someone's house, knocked on it, got some people to come over there and see what was going on. That's what I would have done. I wouldn't have went back up the staircase. I'd have went out that door and went and got some help. I'd have been running to someone's house, beating on the door till they opened it, and I would be calling 911, and I'd have been getting some help. That's what I'd have been doing. I wouldn't have went back up no stairs. I just said, whoa, this door shouldn't be. And so what? So what if it was a false alarm? So what if, there was no explanation of why the door was open? I don't care. I'd rather be safe than sorry, right? I'd rather be safe than sorry. And that way she would have saved herself and she'd have saved her boyfriend. I doubt if she could have saved the two girls, but she could have saved, herself and her boyfriend. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Yeah, I heard that too. And that's very sad. That's very sad, E. Right? I heard that if they'd have showed up, yeah. I'm going to tell you something. That was brutal. That was what that guy did was brutal. Absolutely brutal. But if you go back and you watch when Dylan was talking, if you watch Brian Kohlberger, he's got the, it's like, he's, I don't know. You got to watch it for yourself. Like I said, I always, I'm one of those people that, I like observation. I like to, I learn a lot more from observing people than I do actually talking to them a lot of times. You learn a whole lot by just watching people. And I'm going to tell you, go back and watch where she's talking and look at him, because it's almost as if he's saying, you're doing a good job. Now, when everybody else is, giving their statements and everything, he doesn't do that. Only when she does. Go back and watch. You'll see what I'm talking about. Watch him. Don't watch her. Watch him. And watch how he, as she talks, is almost like he's saying, good job. Great. You're doing good. I didn't like that. I didn't like, I didn't like that. Something just didn't seem right about it. But, go back and look. Yeah, I mean, there's this one guy, that was covering the case. I can't think of what his name. He is really good. I mean, he was following it from A to Z, and I've been watching him. I watch everything of his on that, and he's the one that interviewed Kaylee's sister. He's the one that interviewed Kaylee's sister. And he is like, he's amazing. He's amazing. And he done a really good job. Really good job. He covered, all the ins and the outs. But go back and watch when Dylan was, doing all of her stuff there. And just watch Kohlberger. Watch. You'll see what I'm talking about. So if you get a chance, I won't be in tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 7th. I don't come in on the 7th. It's from Friday evening till Saturday evening. I will not be in here. No. It would have to be extremely important for me to come in. Because I observe the 7th, and nothing's going to get me, nothing's going to entice me to be in here. Anything short of, like if Summer got found or there's some new info that comes out really important. Oh yeah, I'm going to be here, but if it's just because a hater's hating and talking, I'm not coming in here. I'm not coming in here for that. But I, God willing, we'll be back Saturday evening and continue. But if you can, tomorrow or Saturday, sometime Saturday, watch, the trial. Watch when Dylan's talking. And not just Dylan. Watch when Kaylee's sister's talking to him. Watch when, Kaylee's dad's talking and some of the other people's talking to him. Watch when other people's talking to him. And watch his facial expressions. And then, what I want you to do is I want you to watch Dylan first. And how Kohlberger expressions are. Then watch the other people, and then watch Dylan again. And you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about, as if he's letting her know she's doing a great job. Like it's all bullshit. That's my opinion. Like he knows it's fake. And, just watch it. Because that's the impression I got. And tell me if that's the impression you got. I mean, be honest. Because, maybe you won't see what I seen. But what I seen, something's up there. Just saying. And trust me, I watched it a few times. Because I don't want to be wrong. I want to make sure I'm seeing what I see. And I watched it a few times. And the more I watched it, the more convinced I was that I was, right about what I'm seeing. So we'll talk about this Saturday. But I hope each one of you, I hope each one of you take the time to actually, see, go look and see what I'm talking about. Because if you're not aware of it, you'll miss it. Because you're feeling so sorry for all of these people. And, and sometimes we got to set our feelings aside and, and see the truth going on there. But that's how it looked to me. Yeah. I heard that too. Sunshine. I heard that too. Yeah, that was a terrible case. But he's getting ready. He is getting ready to file an appeal. He's going to appeal. Now, is that going to put, the penalty back on the table? Is that going to put the penalty that he got out of back on the table if he does this? Let's wait and see. All right, you guys, I've held you up enough for tonight. I've held you up way longer than I should have. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let you guys get some rest. I got to get some rest. Thank God tomorrow is Friday, right? Thank God it's Friday. So I am excited that it is Friday coming up. And I love Fridays. I look forward to every Friday, and I look forward to the weekend. No work. I'm not pulling overtime this week. I am going to take the weekend off. I need it off. I'm going to take it off, honey, and I'm going to rest But I hope the rest of you guys, you know, have a beautiful weekend. God bless and God be with us all, right? God be with us all. Um, until we meet again. Keep those prayers going up for Summer Moon, Utah Wells. Keep those prayers going up from our lips to God's ears. In the holy name of Jesus, keep them going up that God lets her be found, that God lets her be brought home, and that God lets justice be served on this baby's behalf, that God lets these evil humans be taken out of our society to make everyone else safe. In the name of Jesus, amen. And keep the prayers going up for Michael Vaughn, Sebastian Rogers, Jack and Lily, and keep the prayers going up for the families that lost these beautiful, beautiful young adults here that would have really amounted to something in this life had they not been, cut short by a very evil human being. Keep those families in your prayers. Good night, everybody. God bless and much, much love. I'm sorry. Um, Ryan said BK cannot appeal since he is taking a plea deal. Thank God. No, he can't appeal. He can. They done said he can. You know, everybody's upset, but yes, he can. You know, that's the thing. Um, he can. The sad thing is, he absolutely can. Um, and they've done said that. They done said that. If you watch the trial, um, you'll hear that he can. Ain't that horrible? Um, yeah, he pleaded in order to get, the, unliving off the table, but, and he signed, said he understood everything, but, they're saying that he can, appeal everything. He can say that he didn't like, that he was coerced and he has, all this stuff going on and that he didn't really understand nothing. He can trust me. They done and watch Nancy Grace. Watch Nancy Grace because she's the one who came out, matter of fact, yesterday and said he's appealing it. That he's already talking to his mother and he's wanting to appeal it. Go watch Nancy Grace. She's the best. She's the best, you guys. And she tells it like it is. Go watch it because I watched it last night. I watched her last night. And she's, she done said, and Nancy knows everything. This woman knows it all. Go watch her. And he can't appeal. Yeah, I love her. I love her. She is, amazing. She's a beautiful woman. And she really fights for justice. Go watch. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's true. Anyway, I'm going to get back to Summer Song.